Good afternoon, everyone. Kalla here. Welcome to my live stream. Glad you could make it today. So today we will be playing more of the mysterious Thief Forget-Me-Not. Last time we got to watch Desiree and Irina be even more adorable. And we are currently in Crow's POV and learning about Desiree's past. So, yep, that's about where we are. So let us continue. After an admittedly long walk, the two of us finally make it to our destination, Sidewind Avenue. Desiree looks around the area, still clinging to my arm. So, this is where we're staying? Hello, Drag. How you doing? Yep. Ever been in this area before? Only a few times, as far as I can remember. So, which flat do you live in? Flat? No. We're staying in here. I walk up to the entrance of the bar that's sticking out like a sore thumb, the gallant rogue, which catches Desiree off guard. You live in a bar? The attic specifically, but yes. Don't worry, the owner's a good friend of mine, so he'll be happy to help you out. Okay, if you're sure. She continues to give me a concerned stare, and as I open the front door and let her inside. You just finished watching this week's Precure? I should watch Precure again. It's been a while. I think it was Princess Precure, the last one I watched. Once we're both inside, I lock the front door so no one walks in on us. Meanwhile, Desiree stares in awe. Her eyes start to practically sparkle at all the Scarlet Rose memorabilia hanging on the walls. Wow! I've never seen so much about the Scarlet Rose in one place before. The owner is a huge fan. He even named the bar in homage to them. Feeling starstruck? A little, yeah. Crow! Interrupting us is the owner and my good friend Andre Daniels, who walks out from the stairwell going to the attic. You're lucky I was still here taking inventory. Now what's the emergency? He pauses, then stares completely baffled at Desiree, who's been standing next to me this whole time. Hello? Hello, and who might you be? Desiree LeChance. Nice to meet you. She gives an awkward nod as Andre stares at her. LeChance? You mean... I stride up next to Andre, patting him on the back to bring him back to reality. Andre, stop freaking out the kid and introduce yourself. Right. Sorry. I'm Andre Daniels, Crow's friend and owner of this bar. It's my pleasure. He holds out his hand for a shake, which Desiree takes with a smile. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Daniels. I can't help but snort out a laugh, which Andre shoots a judging stare at me for. Just Andre is fine. No need to be so formal. As they're happily shaking hands, Andre steals a quick glance at me before returning his attention to Desiree. Desiree, could you leave me and Crow alone for a bit to talk? You can go upstairs and get yourself settled in for the time being if you'd like. Sure thing. Pardon me. She grabs her suitcase and walks over to the staircase, climbing up with haste. Once she's out of view, Andre looks back at me with a rightfully concerned look. You have a lot to explain. And it's a lot to explain, trust me. Oh, I bet. Why the hell is the commissioner's granddaughter sitting in my attic right now? What happened? Here, let me sum it up quickly. I run Andre through everything that happened tonight that led up to where we are now. After I finish, he pinches the bridge of his nose, letting out a deep sigh. What have you gotten yourself into this time? Listen, I'm sorry for suddenly dropping this on you, but I really want to help her out for a bit, alright? Don't worry, I'm not saying no. In fact, I'm happy to help too. Considering everything, she's more than welcome to stay here as long as she needs to. It's just a lot to take in at once. I give him a pat on the shoulder with a smile to help ease his worries. Thank you, Andre. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. You know I'm always here for you. Giving me a pat back on my shoulder, he turns around toward the stairwell. Now, come on, help me pull that old mattress out of storage. You're gonna have the kids sleep on that? That thing's practically ancient. No, you are. She's taking your current bed, no objections. With a smug laugh, he walks over to the stairs and starts climbing up. Hey, come on now, that's no fair. Andre! I quickly run after Andre up the stairs, ready to help Desiree get settled into her temporary home away from home. And there we go. That should be enough. After a bit of time and quite a bit of muscle, Andre and I successfully pull out that old mattress and reorganize the attic to fit it nicely. Feeling exhausted from everything that happened tonight, I lay down on my new bed to relax. Yeah, it's turned out to be slightly less temporary than that, hasn't it, Drag? I guess this isn't totally bad. Stage 1, denial. Oh, shut up, you a-hole. I lightly kick Andre in the leg as we both share a laugh. At the same time, Desiree has finished organising the things she brought along before looking back at me sheepishly. Sorry you've had to give up your bed because of me. Don't sweat it, kid. I'd rather you be as comfy as you can while you're here. Even if it does amuse a certain someone. I glare at Andre as I say this, which just makes him chuckle again as he walks back to the storage room. It gets a giggle out of Desiree, too, as she continues pulling out things from her suitcase. While she's unpacking, I spot something she put on the writing desk while we were busy, walking over to see what it is. Huh? What's this? Picking it up, it's a photo of Desiree with her parents, visiting an exhibit in the museum together. That's my favourite photo. It's from when the museum had that magician-inspired exhibit a few years ago. Oh, I remember that. Sir Wilkinson partnered with that group of magician historians to put the exhibit together. It was quite impressive. Not surprised you'd want to go to that. Shush, you! She pauses her unpacking, taking the framed photo from me to stare at it. I couldn't really see myself leaving this behind. I hope it's all right. Her voice trails off, looking away from me briefly, as I sigh, patting her on the back lightly. Of course it's all right. Anything that helps this place feel even the smallest bit like home is good to bring along. She gives me a soft smile and a nod as a way of thanks, placing the photo back on the writing desk gently. Pushing her suitcase aside, she sits down on the bed, and I follow suit, sitting next to her. How long do you think it'll take? For my parents to get better, I mean. What? Worried you'll impose? A little. I chuckle a bit, then pat her on the shoulder gently again with a reassuring smile. Like I said, you're more than welcome to stay here for as long as you need to. No need to worry about bothering us. I just hope we aren't interrupting your studies or anything, what with you suddenly moving here. Oh, don't worry. I already graduated high school years ago. Oh, and what about university or college? I haven't really figured out what I want to do yet, so I've been living with Mama and Papa until I do. I can respect that. I give her a quick pat on the back with a smile as I circle the topic back around. Anyways, I'm sure it won't be too long before you can head on back home with your parents, so just think of this as a little getaway of sorts. I guess you're right. Thank you. She pauses suddenly, then gives me a confused stare. My papa called you Sungwon or something earlier, right? Do you prefer being called that or Crow? I appreciate you asking, kid. And call me Crow if you'll please. Okay. I give her another pat on the shoulder as I stand back up. You've had a long night, so why don't you head to bed? There's a bathroom out in the hall next to the storage room if you want to use it. Okay, thank you, I will. Good night. Good night. On cue, she pulls out some pajamas from her luggage and walks over to the bathroom to get ready for bed. Meanwhile, I'm left standing in the quiet attic, alone with my thoughts on this whole matter. I hope those two get better soon. 5 months later. Quite some time has passed since Desiree first moved in with us. More than we all thought initially. Life has gone on normally, aside from that, however, with Andre continuing to run the bar and me doing any job I get my hands on. It's pouring hard outside tonight as I walk into the bar completely drenched. I'm back! I'm back. Andre walks up to me with a chuckle and a towel in hand to greet me. Welcome back. Here. He hands me the towel, which I gladly take and wipe myself off with as I shake my head to get the most of the water out. What are you, a dog? Give yourself a headache doing that. Although I guess you have shaggy fur like one. Asshole. Saying shit like that is asking me to bite you. We both laugh, then Andre helps pat my head dry. Midnight crowd just died down, so do you want me to make you a drink before bed? Sounds perfect to me. Let me just get out of these wet clothes first. Sure thing. I give him a quick high five, then head upstairs soon after. I climb up the stairs and start to let out a big yawn, but then stop myself as I see Desiree fast asleep inside the attic. Wow, the kid's already out like a light, huh? Taking a quick look at the clock on the wall, I sigh. I guess it is pretty late, huh? Sleep well, kid. How's she gonna react to the news, though? I quietly take off my jacket, grabbing my slacks and a spare top from the closet, before tiptoeing out of the room toward the bathroom. After taking a quick shower and getting changed, all while making sure not to make too much noise so Desiree can sleep, I hop back downstairs and park myself by the counter. On cue, Andre walks out of the kitchen, sliding a rum and coke my way as he takes a drink from his own. Thank you. How's the kid been today? She's been good. Worked her butt off helping me clean and organize things earlier. No wonder she's completely out upstairs. Usually she'd try to catch me coming back in before conking out. I take a quick swig of my drink with a happy sigh, feeling my exhaustion melting away. Andre takes a sip from his own drink at the same time before continuing. What about you? You're later than usual. Did a new job keep you? I actually finished what I needed to do tonight a few hours ago. I just decided to do some digging of my own. Digging? For what? He then sighs after staring at me before answering his own question. Desiree's parents? Bingo. I lean into the bar, swirling my drink in one hand as I continue. It's been 5 months now and we haven't heard anything about them. No good news or bad news, it's nuts not to know anything. So I decided to dig a bit. And just how did you do that digging, might I ask? I look away from him sheepishly. Did that digging involve the break-in at Police HQ earlier? Perhaps. He simply sighs before giving me a stern glare. You know how dangerous that is. I know, believe me. But I couldn't just sit by and wait for who knows how long before we got any kind of update on them. I knew it was going to be hell, but man, it's even more of a nightmare at HQ now. I take a quick sip, then continue. Apparently, ever since the break-in, the Commissioner's gone on an entire tirade through the whole precinct. Ripping every department a new one, making everyone go through and double-check every case file for inconsistencies. It's nuts. He even fired the former lead larceny detective and everyone working under them for not taking those burglars seriously. Jesus. Andre takes another sip from his drink, then swirls it around too. I can understand because his family got hurt, but that's just insane to panic that much. What about the kid's parents? I sigh, then take a big swig before slumping over some more. That's the problem. Between the info I found and even checking their place to confirm what I read, they're not in Twin Bells anymore. I don't know where to, but he had them move out of the city entirely after they recovered. Andre sighs with me once more, pinching the bridge of his nose in frustration. Shit. To make them leave without Desiree, does he just not care about how she'd feel being left behind or something? Believe me, I'm just as pissed off as you are, and there's nothing we can do about it. The real problem is, how do I tell this to Desiree? She'll be heartbroken. Her father trusted me to look after her, but this is a lot more to deal with than I thought. Sounds like her dad knew exactly how ridiculous the the chief was gonna get about this, right? I imagine he also didn't expect this to happen when he asked you to do this. We both sit in silence, letting everything I said sink in. Andre breaks the silence by finishing his drink, then pouring himself some water before he continues speaking. Don't even think about hiding this from her. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met, so there's no doubt she'll find out herself if you try to hide it. And I know. I wouldn't put her through that. It'd make the news hurt even more. Just gotta think of how and when to let this all out. Andre takes a drink from his glass before side-eyeing the stairwell. You might have to do that sooner than you think. Huh? Andre simply points towards the stairs, causing me to turn and look. And I manage to catch a glimpse of Desiree before she runs back upstairs. Damn it. Should have figured. Guess I've got no choice now. As I get up from my seat, chugging the rest of my rum and coke in the process, Andre quickly stops me. Did we wake her up or was she fake asleep? It could be either of those things. Or both. We woke her up and then she continued fake sleeping. Here, before you go. He pulls out another glass, then fills it and my empty one with water. She'll probably be thirsty. Take this upstairs for her, will you? Sure thing. I quickly down my glass of water, give Andre a pat on the back, then carefully grab Desiree's glass before walking up the stairs after her. Walking upstairs, I peek into the attic and see Desiree sitting on her bed with the lamp on, shuffling a deck of cards. Hello, Nick. How are you doing? I am doing fine. I lightly knock on the door to grab her attention. Hey. Hey, welcome back. She scooches over to make me some room and I sit down next to her. 7 hours of D&D, huh? Nice. Did you have fun? Here, Andre figured you'd be thirsty. Thanks, I kind of am. She takes the glass from me, drinking from it a bit, before placing it on the writing desk. I didn't wake you up, did I? No, you're fine. I only closed my eyes for a bit. Yeah, you're going to be doing Curse of Strahd, huh? Have fun. I have vague knowledge of what that involves, but only vague. I know who Strahd is. She continues to shuffle the deck in her hands, which I stare at, mesmerized. Hey, you're pretty good at that. Thanks. Shuffling cards is really relaxing to me. It helps me calm down when I'm anxious. I actually know a few card tricks if you want to see one. Card tricks, huh? You've piqued my interest. All right, I'll bite. I sit down more comfortably next to her as she shuffles the deck once more and randomly pulls out 4 cards. She fans them out in her hands, face up towards me, then turns her head away slightly. All right, now pick any card and remember it for later. Leave it in my hand though, please. Ooh, do we get to pick? Ooh, we get to pick. I mean, there's an obvious choice here, right? But I do want to note how much I like that each of them have flowers on them. So the hearts has roses, and the clubs has, I guess this could be daisies. Diamonds seems to be tulips. And spades, I'm not entirely sure. But you gotta pick the ace of spades, right? Gotta pick the ace of spades. I guess I'll pick this one. I tap one of the cards lightly to let her know I'm done, to which she then puts them all of them back in the deck before starting to shuffle it again. Now, while I'm shuffling, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 4. Alright then. How about... 3. That's about number 3. Yeah, the spades did seem like a climbing plant of some kind, right? Got it. She then finishes shuffling the deck and randomly pulls out 4 cards once again, laying them face down in front of me on the bed. You still remember what card you picked, right? That I do. Perfect. Now flip over the card that matches the number you picked, with it going from left to right from 1 to 4. Okay, let's see. I do just as she says, taking the card matching the number I picked and flipping it over. And seeing the very card I picked earlier sitting in that spot. Impressive. I mean, admittedly, actually, if you sort of look at it from the side, it could be the forget-me-nots. Probably no, maybe not. I think those aren't quite as rounded from the side. I don't know. Oh, what the? There's no way. I don't believe it. Nah. I pick up the card and examine it closely, but it's in perfect condition, just like all the other ones. Meanwhile, Desiree is just giggling at me. There's no way. You probably switched it out while I wasn't looking. But you were staring at me the whole time. Then you hid it up your sleeve. I don't have sleeves. I can do it again for you if you want. Fine, I'll take you up on that offer. There's no way that'll happen again. That was definitely a fluke. Keep telling yourself that. She takes the 4 cards back and shuffles the deck a few times once again. Then, just like earlier, she randomly pulls out 4 cards and fans them out face up toward me. Just like before, pick one of the cards in my hand and remember it well. Gotcha. Okay. These are 3 of the same cards. The only one that's not the same is the spade, I think. At least I think it was 7 of hearts, 10 of diamonds, and 5 of clubs before. Let's pick the 5 of clubs this time. I'll go ahead and pick this one this time. I tap the cards to let her know I'm done picking, and she then starts shuffling the deck over and over as she continues. Same deal here, just pick a number from 1 to 4. And no, picking the same number isn't a guarantee that I'm cheating, by the way. You say that. Alright, let's go for 2 this time. Number 2. Alrighty. She then finishes shuffling, then pulls out 4 cards and puts them on the bed face down once again. You know what to do. Flip over the card that matches the number you picked. There's no way you'll get it again. That was definitely a fluke. Keep living in denial. Don't have to, 'cause I'm right. Just flip your card already. I stare down at the cards, hovering my hand over them while side-eyeing Desiree. There's no way it'll happen again, right? I take a deep breath, slowly flipping over the card. To reveal the card I picked earlier in that spot. Again. What the fu- I'm left completely speechless, dumbfounded, absolutely shocked that her trick worked twice in a row. In my shock, I pick up the card and examine it closely again, trying and failing to find any answer to this, as Desiree laughs. Do you want to go a 3rd time, or are you finally admitting defeat? How did you... I mean, what... That's... Alright, I know when to call it quits. Not bad, kid. How'd you get so good at this? Thanks. Peppa took me to a magic show once when I was super little, and I liked it so much I've been practicing a bunch of tricks since. It's one of my favourite ways to keep myself busy. She takes back the cards and goes back to her shuffling. There's a brief silence between us before I speak up once more. You don't have to put on a brave face near me, by the way. And I know what you want to say. But you said it yourself that you do this to calm down. So go ahead, kid. She pauses, then sits quietly for a bit before turning to me. That smile she had earlier, fading into a sad expression. Is it true that they're not here anymore? I'm sorry, Desiree. It is. Aw, that's a nice CG. Putting her deck of cards away, she hugs her knees and lets out a deep sigh. You don't know where they could have gone, do you? No, I don't. I tried finding out, but they didn't leave anything behind that would give any clues as to where they'd be moving to. I'm sorry. Please, don't apologize. I know you did everything you could. But... Desiree squeezes her legs tighter as I see her trying to fight off the urge to cry. How could he just make them leave? And without even letting me know where they're going or for how long? And what about me? Am I just supposed to wait here, hoping they'll come back? Or what if he thinks they're better off somewhere else? I can feel my heart sink hearing this, as I lightly pat her on the back to try and help calm her down. And there's no way they'd let him keep them out of the city forever, since you're still here. I know it hurts, and you have every right to be angry, but until they're back in Twin Bells, you're more than welcome to stay with us. She doesn't say anything at first, but then turns to look at me. I I don't want to be a burden. This was only supposed to be for a bit, but now you and Andre have to look after me for who knows how long. I'll feel like I'm being selfish asking so much of you two. Well, I can tell you that's not true at all. You've been pulling your weight around here since day one, and you're always asking if you can help with something. So don't you worry. Neither of us thinks you're a burden at all. And just remember what I'm saying now if you get these doubts again, alright? I see tears start to well up in her eyes as she hides her face in her knees, while I rub her back gently. Let it all out. You'll feel a lot better afterwards. We say nothing after that, with Desiree's sniffling being the only sound left in the attic. I stay quiet, making sure I let her cry as much as she wants, for as long as she needs to. After a bit of time has passed, Desiree stops crying and raises her head. Feel a bit better? She nods, then reaches for the tissues to wipe away anything left. Thank you. You're very welcome. And you're always welcome to vent to us about anything again, okay? Okay. As she starts to relax a bit more, I think to myself for a brief moment before turning back to look at her. I hope I'm not overstepping or anything, but this has been on my mind since your father first asked me. What exactly is it about your grandfather that made your father not want you to be looked after by him? Her face suddenly becomes more serious, a complete 180 from what she's usually like, as any hint of sadness from earlier vanishes. If this is something too personal, you don't have to... No, it's fine. You're dealing with what he's really like now, so it's only fair. I assume you know my Commissioner Desjardins' reputation? I do. He's one of the best police commissioners in this half of the country, with a remarkable record of arrests that even includes corrupted officers and officials. That's his public reputation, and one he's good at keeping up. At home, though, he's Eric Desjardins, the most overprotective and controlling man I know. She looks away as she goes on. He always wants to know where we're going, for how long, if we need anyone watching over us in case something happens. Yada yada, it's too much. Mama said he's always been like this since she was my age, and that he does it out of concern, but I hate it. Anytime I wanted to do anything, I always had to ask for permission, and 9 times out of 10 he would say no. Especially if it's something he deemed a waste of time, which was everything I wanted to do. All the while I constantly hear nothing but how amazing he is and how I'm just the commissioner's granddaughter. The magic show I went to when we first met, he never would have let me go. He would have gone on about how those shows are just scams, or they're always at seedy bars. Which is why you snuck out. She simply nods in response. Now I see why your father said you shouldn't be with him while they're recovering. Exactly. I'm angry at his solution to what happened to my parents, but I'm also not surprised he overreacted as much as he did. Sorry you have to basically deal with him now, though. Hey, don't worry, it's fine by me. Besides, it makes me feel oddly better knowing we've given you a place you don't have to worry about that anymore. I reach up and ruffle her hair, but I quickly pull my hand back when I notice the surprised look on her face. Oh, whoops. Sorry if you didn't like that. Force of habit. Oh, it's fine. I don't mind at all. I actually kinda like it. Mama always has a habit of doing that as well. Well, in that case... I pull Desiree in and start giving her a solid noogie with all my might, which makes her start laughing with just as much energy. Hey, that tickles! As we both get it all out of our systems, I give her another pat on the head with a smile. Yeah, there is the question there of, like, does the Commissioner know she's here? If he's that controlling, why is this still going on? Yeah. It's a good question. Thank you for trusting me enough to tell me all of this. I know it's probably hard for you. Rest assured, you're as far away from your grandfather as you can be while you're with us, so you don't have to worry about a thing, capiche? Capiche. Thank you, Crow. You're welcome. Maybe this is why your dad asked me to look after you. Maybe. Her giggling trails off, then she looks at me with a curious stare. Can I ask you something in return? Sure thing. What's on your mind? I've actually been wondering something this whole time too. How do you know my papa? When you look at everything, it seems really weird that you even do. You're much younger than him, and there's no overlap with your jobs. So how? I'm caught off guard by her question, but then let out a sigh. I suppose that's a fair thing to wonder. I look away from her for a brief moment to collect my thoughts before I answer. Way back when, I ran into a really sticky situation that was difficult to get out of. Because of it, I had nowhere to go and was stuck wandering around and staying at any place I could just to have a roof over my head. On one of those nights, I bumped into your dad. I sigh again, then continue. Considering his connection to your grandfather, I was sure that your dad would rat me out then and there, but he didn't. Instead, he did the opposite, gave me a place to stay for a while, and even helped me sort everything out. Sort everything out? It's complicated. Anyways, after all that, I was able to move on, and I've been indebted to your old man since. Desiree continues to stare at me, and I can tell it's due to how much I left out, but then goes back to having that bright smile on her face again. That definitely sounds like something he'd do. She then lets out a heavy yawn as we finally notice what time it is. Sorry I kept you up so late, kid. It's fine. I don't mind at all. It was nice talking about this to someone. The feeling's mutual. Now head to bed, okay? Alright. Good night, Crow. I ruffle her hair one more time as I stand up from the bed. Night. And don't wait for me tomorrow. I've got a lot to do for this job. Sure thing, just don't overdo it. As I start making my way out of the attic, I hear her speak up behind me. And Crow? Huh? Yeah? Well... when you're feeling more open to talking about yourself, I'd be happy to listen too. I blink at her in silence before a small chuckle escapes from me. You really are a smart one. Good night, Desiree. I walk out of the attic toward the bathroom to get ready for bed, as I see Desiree laying back down to fall asleep. Staring at her for a moment, I sigh and run a hand through my hair. real smart one. With a yawn of my own, I get myself washed up and ready to fall into a deep sleep after everything tonight offered. The next evening. Maps, keycards, emergency supplies, and that should be everything. Off in my corner of the attic in the middle of the night and getting ready to finish the last stage of my current job. I'm packing up any and all supplies I'll need and double-checking to make sure I've got all of my bases covered. Meanwhile, Andre just stares at me with a worried look painted on his face. What's wrong? Be careful tonight, okay? Oh, what? You worried about me? That's sweet. Crow, please. My playful jabbing just makes his brows furrow even more, which immediately makes me feel awkward. Sorry, that was mean. But don't worry, you know I'm always careful. I know, but I have a bad feeling about tonight. Just be extra careful, okay? For me and Desiree. Of course. I'll make sure nothing happens, I swear. I pat Andre on the shoulder, and he in return gives me an exasperated smile. You're a real handful sometimes, you know. I know. It's my charm. As the two of us laugh, easing any worries we may have, Desiree is sitting at the writing desk, quietly listening to us. I walk over to give her a pat on the head. I'll probably be back super late, so don't wait up for me, alright? Sure thing. I'll head to bed after helping Andre tonight, then. Good, good. Try not to miss me too much while I'm gone, kid. She lightly kicks me in the leg with a pout. Stop treating me like a baby, you jerk. But you make it so easy. How could I not? I let out a little chuckle, then grab my things and start heading toward the door. Good luck with evening rush, you two. See ya. They both give me a wave as they start prepping for their night of work as well. I walk into the storage room and hop out the window onto the roof. Checking the time, and I look off into the distance at my destination. The Wilkinson Museum of Art, sitting pretty and illuminated in the night. This job is almost done, and I can finally relax for a bit. With a stretch, I start making my way towards the large and imposing building, hopping along the rooftops as quickly and quietly as I can. Inside the museum, I'm greeted by the dead silence usually present at this time of night. With barely anyone inside aside from the security detail, it makes it easy to sneak around the different exhibit halls. And here, in the main exhibit room, I see my target under the emergency lights. It's just where they said it'd be. Shouldn't be too bad. But I look around the hall from my vantage point, surprised by how empty it is. Pulling out my map of the guard routes I jotted down, there should have been a couple making their rounds right about now. But instead, there's no one. Not even any guards taking an extra break inside the hall like they usually do. Something's not right. Where the hell is everyone? Maybe Andre's intuition was spot on. After tucking the map back into my bag, I continue looking towards my target, thinking over my plan of attack once more. As long as I stick to the plan and stay in the blind spots, I should be fine. With another quick look to make absolutely sure no one is around, I start sneaking my way towards the glass case. Hugging the walls, sliding around pillars and cases, all to follow the path I made that would make sure none of the security cameras could spot me for even a moment. I finally make it next to the jewel I'm after, quietly letting out a breath I was holding in the whole time. Don't get cocky. Be slow and thorough. I pull out my picks and get to work on the lock keeping me out, carefully working my magic until I hear it click open. Getting up onto my feet, I open up the case and reach inside for the jewel. Uh-oh. What? In an instant, a cuff appears from the pedestal the jewel is sitting on, grabbing my hand tightly with a loud click. I try pulling it off my wrist in vain, then panic as I try to find something on me that can get me out of this situation. Is this going to be like our detective, or... You're not going to get out of this as easily as you think, thief. Yeah. Suddenly the lights come on, blinding me for a moment before I see a group of cops start to circle around me from a distance. And from the swarm I see someone else walk forward with a smug look on their face. Crow, correct? Good evening to you. I am the illustrious Maximilian Wilkinson, co-owner of this museum and the mastermind behind your captivity. Yeah, I know who you are, Blondie. He clicks his tongue angrily at me. Considering the situation you're in, it'd do you good to have a bit of respect for the man who will put you behind bars. You'll have to forgive me. It's not in my nature to respect dumbasses. Excuse me? You heard me. Besides, what good does it do you to keep this jewel? You should know it was stolen. He lets out an annoying chuckle before going on. Do you really think I'm that stupid to be duped by a con man? Of course I've known this whole time this jewel was stolen and that everything from this jeweler was robbed from someone to resell for more. And I knew you were hired to steal this jewel, so I used that to my advantage. After I get you rightfully locked up, with the help of the precinct, I'll use this very jewel to expose him myself. 2 birds with 1 stone and such. As he laughs again, I lean against the case with a sigh. You really are an idiot. Acting all high and mighty as if you were a real genius, when everything was already handed to you on a silver platter. Pardon? Do I have to spell it out for you? The larceny division, you idiot. This whole case went on so long because the former head larceny detective egged this on so he could do what you're doing right now. It's obvious when you see just how much info the precinct had on this guy. All the information you used to find me here. I can guarantee a few of your lackeys were following the former detective's plan to a T, and just made you think it was all you're doing. He starts looking around the room in panic, his face pale as a sheet, and almost every officer that locks eyes with him averts their gaze. He then looks back at me, turning bright red from anger. This... Face the facts, rich boy. You did nothing. All the info was gathered for you by a man who ignored every other case he should have worked on to make a name for himself. This probably would have gone on even longer if he hadn't been fired. He says nothing for a moment, still bright red in anger. But the short-lived silence is broken as he starts yelling at me. Don't you dare look at me like that! Acting so high and mighty, treating me like an imbecile, all the while thinking of yourself as some sort of vigilante or hero. Well, you're not a hero. You're just a blackmailer and a thief with an overinflated ego. I roll my eyes and look away from him as he drones on. Wow, how original. I definitely didn't hear that a dozen times over the years. How long did it take you to come up with that? Stop acting so important. This self-righteous attitude of yours is why your wife left you. I stand up straight and look him dead in the eyes, my annoyance turning to disdain from his outburst. How do you... What? Surprised? You shouldn't be, as I made sure to do all my homework on you to make this plan absolutely perfect. He clears his throat in an obnoxious manner before continuing. Sung-Won Kim, age 33, going by the alias Crow. Former employee of Baxton & Associates, where an unfortunate scandal happened that ruined the company. Honestly, I'm still surprised you're not behind bars for that. You'd think money laundering, fraud, and backroom deals that almost claimed someone's life would put someone higher up on the wanted list. I click my tongue angrily at him, wishing I could shut him up myself if it wasn't for this damn cuff. Despite all your research, you think it's my fault, huh? And not that bastard pushing the blame onto me so we could get away with it. Yes, I saw that your former employer had a hand in the incident. A hand? I tug my arm, trying and failing to rip the cuff off, as he steps back a bit. You're not getting out of that as easily as you think. I made sure of it. And even if it was true that you took the fall, it is true. Either way, you're still the one with a wanted poster, regardless of what the public thinks. Turning into a thief doesn't help your case either, especially after disguising yourself as your former employer and stealing evidence that was in his office. Fake evidence. For all your talk of doing research, you sure managed to learn nothing. Although it was him that stole it, not me. Enough! His voice echoes loudly throughout the hall as he then lets out an angry huff before fixing his hair. I've had enough of this verbal back and forth with you. Security! On cue, the officers circling around me start making their way towards where I'm standing. I look around the room, panicking inside as I try to think of any way to get out of this nightmare. Just as they get closer, something makes a loud clanking sound behind Maximilian that catches everyone's attention. What is this? In an instant, white smoke starts pouring out from the object behind him, drowning the room and making it impossible to see anything. I can't see! Get rid of this thing! I can hear a handful of cops fumbling over to his aid, tripping over each other and the furniture as they struggle to get their bearings. Just then, I feel someone tapping my shoulder. Who? Shh, keep quiet! I blink in shock, wondering for a brief moment if it's the smoke getting to me, as I see Desiree right next to me. Kid? She covers my mouth forcefully, pulling me down to floor level so the case hides us. I said keep quiet! What the hell are you doing here? Are you trying to get caught? No, I'm trying to help you get out. Here, let me... She gets back on her feet, pulling out a bobby pin from under her hat before fiddling with the lock on the cuff. In an instant, the cuff clicks open and I rub my free wrist with a sigh. Thank God that thing was annoyingly tight. Now come on, let's get out of here. She grabs my hand and starts pulling me towards one of the exits with haste. We can barely see what's in front of us, but enough to make sure we don't trip on anything along the way. Just as we start making headway, an angry voice catches up to us and tries to grab me. No, you don't! You and your accomplice aren't going anywhere! Yeah! In that split second, Desiree turns around and lands a punch square on his face, knocking him onto the ground. Holy shit! Come on! I continue running out of the main hall as I look back and barely see a swarm of cops coming to Max's aid in the smoke. We ran as far as our legs could take us, using the rooftops to get around the city faster. Desiree slows down to a halt, panting just as much as I am as she looks up at me. Are we far enough now? We should be. With a deep sigh, I fall onto my back and feel just how exhausted my arms and legs are. Looking back at the museum, which appears so small now. Whoops, I think I missed a line there. Mispast a line. It sinks in just how far we ran to get away. I am never running that much again in my life. Agreed. Desiree sits down next to me, clutching her chest to steady her breathing as well. After I finally manage to catch my breath, I sit up and turn to her. Now that we're away from all that, what the hell are you doing here? If it wasn't for how everything played out, you could have gotten caught along with me. And how did you even know to come help me in the first place? Slow down, I'll explain. I was helping Andre with the evening rush when a museum employee came in for a few drinks. He then got super drunk and started raving about how that Max guy had a genius plan to catch you. Andre just about had a heart attack hearing that, and I ran out and caught a cab as soon as I could. She starts scrunching her face up, trying her hardest to fight back her frustration. Seeing you trapped like that, I'm glad I made it on time. I pat her head gently, trying my best to help her calm down, then pull her into a hug. And I'm thankful you did. Thank you, Desiree. I'm sorry I gave you and Andre so much worry. I'm just glad you're all right. With a quick pat on the shoulder, we both stand back up onto our feet. I have to hand it to you, even I'm not as resourceful as you are. Where the heck did you even get a smoke bomb from? I don't remember that in the attic. It's, the failed result of a fog machine I tried to make. With a quick giggle, she starts walking towards Sidewind Avenue. Now come on, enough about tonight. Andre's super worried about you. I can't, kid. I have to go back. I pinch the bridge of my nose, then go on. I still need that jewel for my client. He was going to use it in his case against the con man, so I'm shit out of luck if I don't get it. And there's no telling how much security there'll be if I hold off until tomorrow night. Yeah, we really should have grabbed it on the way out, right? Or I was literally about to say, or maybe Desiree grabbed it on the way out, which she did. Oh, you mean this jewel? From inside her jacket, she pulls out the very jewel I risked my butt over tonight, holding it up with a smug grin. What? How did you... I took advantage of the chaos while freeing you and snagged it. Not bad, huh? I'm left speechless, not only by the jewel, but also by how she managed to pull all of this off tonight. Kid, you continue to be full of surprises. I let out a cackle, then ruffle her hair a bit. All right then, let's head back to the bar. I've had enough of everything tonight. Couldn't agree more. I let out a big yawn and stretch my arms, then continue walking along the rooftops towards the bar. But before I can make any headway, Desiree suddenly grabs my arm. And, Crow? I may have overheard a lot that he said about you while I was preparing, and I'm sorry I eavesdropped. But I just want to say that he's wrong because you're my hero. I feel too surprised to speak and just stare at her for a bit. As I feel a lump start to form in my throat and my eyes getting a little hazy, I look away from her. Are you crying? No. Just got something in my eyes. Come on, I don't want to keep Andre waiting. Okay. Giving her a quick pat on the back, I hop ahead of her onto the next roof and hold my hand out to help her over. Here, kid. Kid? But when I look back at her, she's holding the jewel up to the moon, just staring at it. I can practically see how intensely her eyes are sparkling as the jewel reflects all the lights around her rhythmically. Desiree? Oh, sorry. She quickly stuffs it back into her jacket, then takes my hand to hop over. You alright? We can take an easier route if you want. No, I'm fine. Sorry. Let's get going. She hops ahead of me, snapping out of that bizarre mood just as quickly as she got into it. I stare at her for a moment, but then shake my head. It's probably nothing. With a chuckle under my breath, I continue along the line of rooftops with her, set on making it back home safe and sound. But thinking back on that bizarre moment, I should have realized that that was the moment all of this started in the first place. The moment she had a taste of that adrenaline rush. And the very moment that Forget-Me-Not was born. Finished chapter 3. Apparently. 2 months later. Wilkinson Museum of Art, 11:45 p.m. This is Twin Bell News, live at the Wilkinson Museum. Excuse me, officer, may I have a few words for those watching at home? Come on, let's take a pic before shit goes down. Crowded and noisy, not normally words you'd use to describe a museum this late at night. And yet, that's exactly what you'd call this giant crowd, all together at a time when most should be home asleep. A wide variety of people, families, reporters, and even students are all gathered for the same reason, the mysterious calling card that arrived at the precinct a week ago. The azure feather sitting atop the museum seems like the perfect piece to make my debut with, so I shall fly down onto it at midnight a week from today and claim it for myself. Signed, Forget-Me-Not. Before the precinct could even start preparing for whatever this Forget-Me-Not was planning, the contents of this card got leaked to the press. Juggling the security detail for the museum and the crowd of people wanting answers was an arduous task, but we still managed to finish preparations for tonight. I think we're in detective POV now. In contrast to the... no. What was my voice for the detective? In contrast to the energetic crowd blocked by the barricades, the officers lined up near the foot of the museum finish up their roll call in an orderly fashion. All officers accounted for, sir. Good work. Now everyone, go to your stations and be ready for anything. Sir, yes, sir. A swarm of officers of various ranks disperses as each one finds their spot around the perimeter of the museum. Inspector Harrison watches them and the ever-growing crowd behind us, all while fiddling with his mustache while deep in thought. All officers accounted for both here and on the roof. All blind spots thoroughly checked. Everything is going smoothly so far, but we should keep our eyes peeled. Isn't that right, Remind me, who are you again? Detective Aidan O'Malley, sir. I had just transferred from Manchester about a month ago. Oh, shit. No, he comes from Manchester. I need... How do I do Mancunian? This might require a moment of research. Give me a sec. Okay, quick bit of research. Over. Let's take my best stab at it. And I've got to do it. I just transferred from Manchester about a month ago. That's right, O'Malley, I remember now. Research went well. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to stay away too long, so I didn't do a particularly thorough job. With a deep laugh, he pats me on the back with every fibre of his being, making me lose my balance slightly. Oof. Your files say nothing but good things about you, Detective. I have high hopes for you and what you'll bring to our little city. Right, sir. Thank you. Although, may I ask something that's been on my mind? I look around us and stare at just how many people are huddled around the museum. Yeah, I don't think I'm doing the accent quite right. It's mostly just taking my own accent and sort of going a bit more northern on it, just a little bit. We are back to my regular accent butchering. Every person excitedly awaiting what will happen tonight as if it's some form of entertainment to them. We're stationed here because of that calling card that came to the precinct, correct? Why in the world is everyone so excited over some thief? Huh. Oh, you truly aren't from here, are you? From the museum walks out a jolly-looking elderly man and an entourage of bodyguards walking alongside him. I feel like I'm slipping too far back to Cockney there. I'm so bad at accents. So bad. Good to see you, sir. Glad you could make it. Thank you, Simon. I wouldn't miss this for the world. O'Malley, this is Sir Andrew Wilkinson, the owner and main curator of this museum. Detective Aidan O'Malley, sir. A pleasure. We exchange a firm handshake as he lets out another deep chuckle. So you're the new detective Simon told me about. I expected you to be quite a bit older, considering what I've heard about you. Oh. Thank you, sir. But could you explain what you meant, if that isn't too much to ask? Oh, no need to be so formal, my boy. You may not know this from your preliminary reading, but our little city has quite a history with phantom thieves. For years now, ever since a certain thief retired, people have tried and failed at becoming the next great thief of Twin Bells. I'm not surprised in the slightest at the turnout tonight has brought. The people are anxiously awaiting what will happen this time. He lets out another deep, jolly laugh, but I just continue to stare at him. I'm still a bit confused, but I suppose I'll just have to get used to it. I quickly check my watch to see what time it is. Just about 5 minutes to midnight, which is when that calling card said they'd appear. What in the world is going to happen tonight? As I'm deep in thoughts, an officer suddenly calls for me and Inspector Harrison. Sirs, there's something next to the jewel. What? Grabbing a pair of binoculars, Inspector Harrison quickly turns and looks up at whatever is near the jewel. That whatever turns out to be just a little white bird sitting comfortably on top of the jewel's case. That's just a bird. You got me worried over nothing. What, you expect a little pigeon to grab the jewel and fly away with it? My apologies, sir. We saw movement and panicked. As the inspector lets out another deep laugh, I take the binoculars from him and look back at the jewel. Actually, sir, I believe that's a dove, not a pigeon. All pigeons are doves, Detective Aiden. How did the bird get inside? I don't think this... Weirdly, I don't think this jewel is inside. I don't know why it's not. But look, you can see the stars. So this is clearly a jewel that's on display on the outside of the museum. Are doves local to this area? Ah, I don't believe they are, no. How did that little guy get up there, then? Someone lose them? As I give back the binoculars, Inspector Harrison turns to me, fiddling with his mustache once more. Don't stress yourself out so much, O'Malley. Pigeon or dove, still just a little bird. Even if it was related to this forget-me-something, even if it was related to whatever this forget-me-something is planning, we still have security all over the roof for backup. We've completely covered all of our bases tonight. I suppose. I sneak a peek at the dove again, which is still sitting happily on the display case. I can't help but feel a sense of unease. Am I overthinking this, or... 10 seconds to midnight! Interrupting my thoughts right on cue, the crowd behind us starts to count down to the hour, yelling at the top of their lungs to try and make something happen. 10, 9, 8... Every officer steels themselves for whatever is going to happen once midnight strikes. 7, 6, 5. All of the TV crews strewn about, point their cameras towards the jewel, ready to broadcast everything to the people watching from home. 4, 3, 2. And everyone else simply stares up at the jewel, myself included, anxiously awaiting for this forget-me-not to make their entrance. 1. In an instant, a cloud of white smoke suddenly cloaks the case, rendering it impossible to see what's happening. Roof team, status! Sir, we can't confirm any visuals due to the sudden smoke. Well, get it out of here! We need to check on the jewel. Yes, sir! Wait, hold on! There's someone in the smoke! What? In an instant, everyone within earshot stares up at the jewel, watching as a figure suddenly manifests from within the cloud of smoke. How? The crowd outside the museum goes absolutely wild over the thief's entrance. Meanwhile, every officer stationed around the museum stares in disbelief. Inspector Harrison breaks out of the stunned silence to yell at the roof team over the radio in his hand. I thought you said you had every area covered up there. How did they get that close to the jewel? Oh, we don't know, sir. No one stationed at any of the paths reported anything. It's like they just have suddenly appeared out of thin air. The inspector continues to yell, both over the radio and at the officers on the ground. They're stuck near the jewel now, so grab them quickly before any damage happens to it. Ground team, work on handling the crowd. Yes, sir. But as soon as the inspector finishes addressing everyone, we suddenly hear a voice over the museum's speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Forget-Me-Not, and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance tonight at my debut heist. They give the crowd a bow. Meanwhile, the team on the roof slowly makes their way over. Freeze! Back away from the jewel with your hands behind your head! Aw, here already? That's pretty boring. I suppose I'll just have to speed things along. They then take their cape with their free hand and pull it around, covering themselves and the jewel completely. This lasts for a brief moment, and when they push the cape back, the dove that was perched on them is replaced with the azure feather. But the jewel! Get in there before they can escape! Despite the inspectors yelling and the officers around them, the thief lets out a cheeky laugh. I've had my fun for tonight, so I suppose it's time for my exit. Good night, Twin Bells. I'll see you all again soon. With a snap of their fingers, another cloud of smoke blankets them in the jewel like before. The officers on the roof immediately converge on the pedestal, but then... Are those wings? They're flying! I stare in awe at what's happening before us. Every logical part of my brain is trying to rationalize what I'm seeing, but not a sound escapes from me as my mouth hangs agape. Even the inspector stares at them in shock, utterly speechless and dropping the radio in his hand. And in an instant, after floating above the museum for a little bit, they vanish. Not a single trace left behind, as the officers, who are now huddled together on the pedestal, stand bewildered at where the thief was just a moment ago. Find them! Find that thief and the jewel! They can't have gone far, so search everywhere, now! Yes, sir! Inspector Harrison and every officer in the perimeter start to feverishly search for any sign of the thief or the jewel. And I'm left in shock, staring in awe at where the thief was just now, as the crowd behind me yells in an excited fervor. How do they do that? Why they got near the case without anyone noticing? How they swapped out the jewel? And the wings, that shouldn't be possible. It doesn't make any sense. How do they... That memory again, huh? And just like that, once again it all goes away. The sights and sounds of the heist I relived through my dreams suddenly escapes me as the annoying beeping of my alarm pulls me back into reality. With a groan, I flop over onto my side and shut it off. Chapter 4. Aiden. Yep, we are back to the present day. Ugh. A few more minutes pass before I begrudgingly roll back over to grab my phone and make sure my second alarm doesn't start ringing. That's a mood. Ugh, I hate mornings. Putting on my glasses and sitting up in bed, I scroll through my notifications with a deep yawn. Nothing urgent in my inbox. Yes, that thief is taking a break. You're out after the first alarm, luckily. Yeah, that is good for you. I try not to hit the snooze and just get up, but some mornings it's hard. That suits me perfectly. I already have more than enough on my plate at the present. With a long stretch to get any kinks out of my system, I wobble my way out of bed and try to start being a productive member of society. Alright. Let's look at the pictures. No, we can't look at the pictures. Okay. Let's go to the closet. I opened my closet to sort through my various shirts and sweater vests to decide what to wear today. That one's too informal, that's a bit boring. That one I keep getting weird comments about from people. They say I look like some Akechi guy or something from a video game when I have that on. If it's an a guy called Akechi from a video game, is that Persona 5? I think. I could be wrong because I haven't played it. Still can't tell if that's a compliment or an insult. After sorting through everything, I settle on a simple white-collared button-up shirt. This should be fine. I'll be mostly wearing my jacket today anyway. Flag. Right on top of my dresser sits a little plant with a flag stuck in the dirt, with stripes of yellow, white, purple and black on it. I let out a small sigh. The only real way I've been able to express myself in all these years. That's the non-binary flag, isn't it? And even something as small as this is nice. Makes me glad my name is gender neutral. I fix it up a bit so that it's not as slanted, then continue what I was doing. Walking up to the mirror, I squint at my reflection as I try and subdue my bedhead, to no avail. Maybe I should just give up on trying to tame my hair in the morning. I stare at myself a little longer, noticing the dark circles starting to form under my eyes. It's getting that bad, huh? Maybe I do need some more sleep. Not today, though. There's too much to do at the precinct. Not tomorrow, either, since we have some more testimonies to listen to about the other night. My day off can't come sooner. And I also know well enough that I'd find something to do instead of sleeping in. My one solace, reading. It's one thing that helps me relax when I'm feeling stressed. I've always loved detective novels since I was a kid. It's why I became one. But lately, I've gotten into thrillers as well. There's something entertaining about being kept on the edge of my seat. Don't read into that. My mother got me an e-book reader for my birthday last year to have when I'm out on patrol. It's really convenient, but I'll always prefer the feeling of flipping through physical pages. Desk. Sitting in organised piles on my desk is what I was working on late into the night. Various accounts to sift through, confirming and denying leads about the thief's accomplices and suppliers. Just staring at all of this makes me let out a giant yawn. To think a glorified magician would make me work this much. Off to the side, I spot my old notebook, open to the page I wrote about that very first heist. So that's why I had that dream again. I really should stop rereading this before bed. It's been over 3 years and I still haven't been able to figure out how they got away with it. Everything else I've managed to crack, but that debut heist continues to elude me. I close the notebook and gently put it back in its place with the rest of my notes. Bed. As tempting as it is to crawl back into bed, I've Got to get to the precinct. Can't even sneak a nap on break since I have so much admin work to do. It's not the thief, there's always something else that needs my attention. Okay, I believe that is everything. I let out another big yawn as I walk up to my bedroom door, thinking to myself as I rub my eyes. I need to wake myself up soon, so I'm not yawning all day. I wobble my way into the living room, sunlight beaming directly at my face from outside. The city starts to wake itself up around me, as I can hear people and cars passing by on the street below. Checking the time on the wall, I see I have an hour until I need to be at the precinct. Just enough time to wash my face and drink some coffee. As I fall onto my couch with a thud, I pull out my phone again to check all my notifications and feeds in detail. Ballet is still trending, though it's dying down now they're getting ready to move on. Pause my scrolling when I see a certain thief's name still in the top 5. Boy. It's been over a week since that heist, and yet people are still talking about them. Reading the numerous posts from the tag, ranging from people hoping the thief reads their messages to asking when the next heist will be, I let out a sigh. I don't think I'll ever get used to how much this city loves phantom thieves. Stuffing my phone back in my pocket, I get up from the couch with a little stretch. That's enough lounging for now. Wandering into the kitchen, I instinctively open the fridge and look inside, despite knowing there's nothing in it I want at the moment. Why do I always do that? Closing the door, I then grab a pod of my favourite coffee and a mug from a shelf nearby, then walk over to the coffee machine. I put both of them in their place and push the button, listening to the machine also slowly wake up and start brewing my morning cup. Following soon after is the usual ensemble. The dull hum as it brews the blend, the coffee pouring out, and then finally the annoyingly loud beep as it signals it's finished. Would I like a phantom thief in my village? I'm not sure there's an awful lot for a phantom thief to steal in my village. It's a bit small. I think they're better suited to larger towns and cities. But like, if there was one in the closest town, then yeah, maybe. No, I'm still not sure there's much worthwhile for them to steal there, although there is at least a museum. I think the Phantom Thief might have a field day in London, though. The most you can steal is vegetables from a farmer. Yeah, you're further out into the countryside than I am, aren't you, Nick? I'm sort of very edge of. But even so, there's not much of interest here. It's hours away, so not even worth going. Yeah, that's a mood. Says the person who goes there several times a year. I wouldn't go to London to watch a Phantom Thief heist, though. That is a bit too far for that. Although if I happened to be there at the time, it's a different matter. Following yeah, we did this one line already. Grabbing the mug and adding a bit of sugar to it, I take a sip and finally start to feel a bit more awake. That hits the spot. With every sip I take, I feel my morning grogginess fade away. And soon enough, I feel much more energized. Yep, that's back to the bedroom. Ooh, the bathroom. I walk over to the bathroom with a little yawn, rubbing my eyes again in the process. Washing my face with cold water usually does the trick. I take off my glasses, then proceed to give my face a few thorough rinses with cold water. As I stare at my reflection for a moment, vaguely seeing it being slightly more awake than before, I sigh. Wonder what it's like to be a morning person. I vaguely remember what it's like to be a morning person. Vaguely. But then I guess I didn't have much of a choice when I was in school. Using a towel to pat myself off and putting my glasses back on, I step back out into my apartment, feeling a bit more refreshed. Not a morning person, but you can function early. Yeah, okay, that's true. I was never a morning person, but I used to be able to function in the morning a lot more than I do now. As I've said before, nowadays I'm only a morning person when I'm away on a trip in another country. And it feels like a waste not to get up early. But then again, I'm often better at getting to sleep at a reasonable time when I'm having to share a hotel room with other people. So that probably helps. Am I ready to leave? I think we've looked at everything, yeah. I grab my jackets and keys near the door, then double check to make sure I have everything. Phone, check. Wallet, check. Keys, check. That's everything. Good to go. Stealing a quick glance at my wristwatch, I see I still have about 45 minutes until I'm to be at the precinct. Perfect. Just enough time to go grab some breakfast from the coffee shop near HQ. I look back inside my apartment for a bit, checking one last time to make sure I have everything. And then walk out and lock my door. Quick drive later, and I arrive at the precinct right on schedule. The sounds I've grown accustomed to greet me as I walk in, and I start to feel like my day has finally begun. Officer O'Malley, sir. The testimony transcripts you asked for have been sent to your computer. Excellent. Good work. Detective, some of the evidence from the previous heist needs to be inspected. Have them transferred to me and I'll get right on it. Yes, sir. Off near the water cooler, I spot Inspector Harrison, who notices me and walks my way with that giant grin he always has on his face. "Ah, good morning, O'Malley." With a jolly laugh, he pats me on the back with full force, knocking me off balance slightly. "Good morning to you too, Inspector." You'd think I'd be used to that by now. You need more pep in your step in the morning, O'Malley, otherwise the day's just gonna pass by like a blur. Now I feel like I'm getting called out. As someone who had intentions of leaving the house this weekend and didn't. I'll, try my best, Inspector. Haha, good. I'd like to talk to you about something in my office later, by the way. Nothing super urgent, so no rush. I understand. I'll come by when I finish my morning tasks. Excellent. Take your time and I'll see you later. With another pat on the back, he walks off towards his office and shuts the door behind him. I then sigh as I walk over to my desk and promptly make myself comfortable. Time for the boring part of my day. I crack my knuckles and turn my PC on, ready to tackle today's pile of work. Now, let's see. Why don't I start with those testimony transcripts? Sometime later. And send. In what feels like both a blink and an eternity at the same time, I managed to make a dent in the mountain of work that was waiting for me. I stretch and crack my back after sitting for so long as I notice the clock on the wall. Is it really just about lunchtime? I suppose a break could be nice. Maybe I could see what the inspector wants as well. Dog. It's got a name. Hello, Alex. I look around quickly to see if anyone's watching, then walk over and start petting the dog sitting near the inspector's office. What are you doing here, Commissioner Alex? I thought you were supposed to be in the homicide division. He starts panting excitedly and practically pushes his head into my arms for even more pets. Hey, I thought you were taught to be more stoic. He starts to get rowdier the more I pet him, so I pat him lightly on the head to signal he should back off. As I stand back up, he looks at me with those big round eyes of his, which causes me to sigh. Still a puppy at heart, I see. You can stay here until your owner in the other wing comes to pick you up. Again. Alex lets out a happy bark, then gets comfy in his favourite spot once more. Does Alex come over here from the homicide division just for pets? What does it say about me that I think animals are a dozen times easier to talk to than people? What does it say about me that I am identifying hard with Detective Aiden? for a whole host of reasons. As I lounge a bit, I feel my throat get dry and then realize my mug has been empty for a while when I try to take a sip from it. I really need to bring more water with me. I notice a lull next to the water cooler and decide to take advantage of it and get myself something to drink. While I'm filling up my mug, I overhear a couple of other officers chatting at their desks. I was getting some coffee earlier and walked past a bunch of kids talking about that thief's last heist. Dang, still? It's been a week. You'd think they'd have moved on by now. I know, right? That thief only got more popular after that whole fiasco with the ballet. I can only imagine how much that one ballerina would have gotten pestered if we hadn't managed to cover up her identity fast enough. The other officer lets out a deep sigh while taking a sip from their coffee. When I got into the force, I wasn't expecting my years to be spent chasing after some annoying magician. This remark gets a chuckle out of their colleague. I don't mind it, honestly. Or at least not anymore. It's better than what the guys in Homicide deal with. You make a good point. I suppose chasing after these attention hogs is better than finding dead bodies everywhere. Amen to that. The two of them eventually notice me loitering near the water cooler, then nod in tandem at me. Good afternoon, Detective. Good afternoon. Keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. On cue, they shift back into working on whatever tasks they had before taking their break. Meanwhile, I finish filling up my mug with cold water to take back to my desk, stealing a sip from it along the way. I let out an audible sigh as I look back at my desk. The growing pile of work that's sitting on it practically taunting me at this point. I made a dent, but there's still so much left to do. Further testimonies, sorting evidence, organising interrogations, routine checks to the museum for suspicious activity or anything left behind. And this pile only gets worse after each heist. I still have a couple of things left to finalise about the Sunrise Glow heist, too. I do my best to organise the miniature mountain of work in front of me as I think to myself. Wish the thief would take more time off so I can get through my work faster. Doesn't help that the inspector likes to hand tasks off to me when he's busy with other things. Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to happen when we go see him, right? We're probably going to get handed something else. Up near the eastern wall is one of the many corkboards we use to organise our thoughts and information. Pinned all around this one is everything we've gathered so far about the thief's identity, which admittedly isn't much. Newspaper clippings, blurry photos, old calling cards. After almost 4 years, that's all we have on the thief. I sigh as I glance at everything on the board, with a clipping about their first heist sitting proudly in the middle of it all. That thief. I wonder what these years have been like for them. Everything about them is so bizarre. Their methods, their targets, even their motives aren't clear. It really feels like we're missing something obvious about them, but what? Am I ready to head in? Actually, no. I'm gonna pet Alex again. There we go. Now I'm ready. That's enough of a break, I suppose. I quickly clean up my desk before standing back up, taking a quick sip from my mug in the process. I then walk over to the inspector's office and lightly knock on the door while announcing my presence. "It's Detective O'Malley, sir. You wanted to see me?" "O'Malley, come on in." Once inside, I give the inspector a polite nod. "My apologies if I kept you waiting, sir." "Ha! No worries, O'Malley. It's no problem at all. You've had quite a bit of work on your plate as of late, what with 2 heists in a row and such. I applaud you for being on top of it like you have been." "Thank you, Inspector. Although I really haven't." He lets out another jolly laugh before pulling out some documents from his desk. "I called you over because there's actually some things I need to add to your itinerary." "Some things, sir?" "Just a few odds and ends, nothing that should be an issue to you." He then hands me a large folder of documents and leaflets, the weight of which catches me off guard slightly. This is a few odds and ends? What suddenly prompted this, if I may ask? "I was supposed to clear these things off my to-dos, but then the Commissioner called me to assist him with some extra tasks." "You mean Commissioner Desjardins? I didn't know he was back in Twin Bells so soon." "Aha! It certainly is faster than the last time he left, isn't it? He apparently had to help his daughter with something, and I'm to assist with part of that here in Twin Bells. Naturally, I won't be able to do that and finish up these tasks, so I'm leaving it up to you." I stare back at the behemoth in my hands as I try to hide my dissatisfaction. And I was halfway through my workload, too. "Very well, sir. I'll see to it that this gets finished as soon as possible." "Excellent! I knew I could count on you, O'Malley." He then proceeds to give me yet another firm pat on the back, which I brace myself for as to not drop the files everywhere. "So what exactly is in here?" "Oh, just some tasks to round off our work from the last heist. Things such as double-checking the leads we have on how the thief interfered with the ventilation and fans, visiting the hotel to check some key eyewitness reports, and visit the ballet director and key ballerinas for final questioning. Double-checking the theatre hall and staff to confirm or deny correlations between the ballet and the heist. And finally visiting the museum to interview Sir Wilkinson and inspect the scene." That last one was already on my list. "Aha, that's even better. We need to finish this up before the ballet moves on. So hop to it, Detective. I expect great things from you." In an instant, I'm getting shoved out of the inspector's office, feeling dazed as the door closes behind me. I should have known that the inspector was going to offload some of his work on me again. I was making such good progress. I walk back to my desk and prop the new pile of work next to my existing one, seeing it take up the space I made. With another heavy sigh, I crack my knuckles and open up what I was working on earlier. Let's at least try to finish some of my own pile before I tackle the inspector's. Hours later. Ugh. I think that's finally everything. I slump over onto my desk and sigh deeply, both with relief and exhaustion as my mountain of work has finally been conquered. That is impressive, Detective Aiden. I sit back up to crack my back. Ooh. Then notice it's just after 7. That was a long workday. I was hoping I'd be done by 5. With another groan, I rub the tiredness out of my eyes and then start cleaning up my station while double-checking my watch. I should be able to at least go to the hotel before the day is over and start working on the inspector's itinerary. My stomach interrupts me with a loud, sudden growl. I look around to see if anyone heard it, then breathe a sigh of relief after seeing that I'm alone. I was so focused on work I forgot about dinner. Bad habits are getting worse. There's not enough time to head back home and eat, though, so I'll just grab something on the way there. I stretch once more, then pull out my phone to call the ballet director as I make my way out of the precinct. Yes, hello, this is Detective O'Malley. And my apologies that I'm calling so late, but I was informed that the inspector had requested one final round of questioning from you and select dancers. Yes, I'm on my way right now. My apologies once again for calling so late. Yes, thank you. I'll be there shortly. The dull hum of my car finally fading out, I idle on a street corner not too far from the hotel. I pull out the dinner I bought along the way, a burger with a side of fries, to eat while I collect my thoughts. Let's see what I need to do here. I pull out the documents Inspector Harrison gave me and leaf through them, quickly digesting the information. Along with questioning key figures one last time, I'm to look into the eyewitness reports of Forget-Me-Not being seen near the hotel late at night. The reports themselves are quite vague, with people only mentioning seeing a caped figure gliding away from one of the balconies while they were at the bar. I pinch the bridge of my nose and sigh as I put the documents away. Drunkards. Lovely. You'd think the last time we followed a drunken lead would have taught us not to do that anymore. I suppose there's no harm in checking, though. Taking the final bite of my burger and washing it down with some water, I sit back up and turn on the engine once more. Excuse me, this is Detective O'Malley. The ballet director, right? Ah, you're here. Come on in. With a few words, I'm let into the suite that the two leads, Miss Volkov and Mr. Petrov, are staying in. It's quiet in here, with only the faint sounds of the city outside as background noise. The two of them greet me soon after I walk in, both in comfortable clothing as they were getting ready to head to bed before my arrival. Good evening, Detective. Good evening to you too. Thank you for taking the time to see me. I know it's quite late. You're welcome, and don't worry about it. Yeah, it's no problem at all. Miss Volkov then lets out a deep sigh. Seriously, though? More questioning? Didn't we give you everything the last few times someone from the force has come by? I know, and I apologize greatly for that. We just want to be absolutely sure of our findings before we close this case. As well as ask you about some new information we've gotten a hold of. Fine, as long as this is the last time. To think one thief would cause this much of a ruckus. She sits down on the bed and makes herself comfortable while I pull up a seat of my own. All right, let's just get this over with. All of my accounts about the heist itself have not changed, so is it all right if we skip that? Same with Damien? Unless you want to hear the same answers for the 4th time. That's fine by me. Helps me get home sooner. I don't have too many other questions to ask of you, so I'll try to speed things along. Miss Volkov, have you noticed anything peculiar after the night of the heist? Just Magdalena is fine, thank you. And after, huh? No, nothing I can think of. It's been pretty normal. Although there was that break-in at the theatre hall a few nights ago, but I don't think that has anything to do with us. Doesn't have anything to do with us, huh? Yes, a team has been investigating that since the owners brought it to our attention, so you shouldn't need to worry about that. I quickly jot all this down before continuing. Now, have you noticed anyone in the company acting oddly or differently since the heist? She's silent for a moment as she ponders my question. Not as far as I can tell, no. Everyone's been pretty alright, even quite well because of this extended stop giving us time to breathe for once. Even someone like Irina, who normally works herself to the bone on practice sessions, has seemed brighter as of late. I see. Thank you. I turn my attention to Mr. Petrov, who's been standing by idly. Now, Mr. Petrov, I'd like to ask you these same questions, if you don't mind. Damien is just fine, and of course, no worries. I also haven't noticed anything strange since the heist, and no one's really stuck out to me as being weird, either. I see. Thank you. If only all questioning sessions were this fast. Mr. Petrov joins Miss Volkov on the bed to make himself comfortable as I turn to another page of my notebook. Now, my last question. There's been reports of Forget-Me-Not being sighted near the hotel at night. Would you two happen to have seen anything regarding this? What, near the hotel? The two share looks of worry and surprise before responding. No, I don't think I've seen or heard anything. What about you, Damien? Me neither, to be honest. Although... Mr. Petrov scratches his neck sheepishly with a chuckle. How late into the night were these sightings? Most of the people who've been asked say it's around 3 or 4 in the morning, usually. Then we're quite useless in that regard. The two of us are the heaviest sleepers in the company. Miss Volkov lets out another sigh, then also scratches her neck sheepishly. Yeah, once we lay in bed, we're usually out like a light until morning. So unfortunately, we don't have anything useful to tell you, sorry. It's all right, no worries. I close my notebook and stand back up, giving both of them a firm handshake and a nod. Thank you for answering my questions and for bearing with this one last time. It's no worries, as long as it helps. As I turn to leave, I'm reminded of something and promptly turn back around. I almost forgot. Admittedly, this is my first time questioning you here at the hotel, so I was wondering where Miss Lebedev was. She wasn't in the other rooms your company is staying at, and I was only told the general vicinity you were all in. She's actually next door in her own suite. Oh, I didn't realize she had her own suite. Yes, it's a special accommodation due to her Magdalena quickly slaps her hand over his mouth with a stern look on her face. She then takes both hands and pinches his cheeks with all her might. Damien Emil Petrov! We just cleared out the rumours about you, and now you're speaking before you think again. Don't make me drill this into your head again. Sorry, Magda. She lets go to turn back to me as Damien rubs his cheeks to subdue the pain. My apologies if I accidentally asked about something personal. Don't worry. I just don't want to say too much so people don't make unnecessary assumptions about Irina. She's had these accommodations for years, and sometimes people assume things if we say things without forethought. I hope you understand. I do. Thank you. That'll be everything from me, then. My apologies once again for taking up your time, and a good night to the both of you. Good night to you too, Detective. I give the two of them another firm handshake, then walk out of the room so they can finally get their rest. And I am going to take the opportunity of the scene change to go get myself some more water. And I will be right back. And then back. Excuse me, Miss Lebedev, are you in? Yes, one moment. I'll be right over. After a short while, Miss Lebedev welcomes me into her suite. Similar looking to the one I just left, with just as much ambience coming in from outside. As I walk in, I spot something on the balcony from the corner of my vision, but fail to see anything when I look over. Ooh, close call. Was that just my imagination, or... Miss Lebedev interrupts my thoughts as she greets me with that soft voice of hers. Good evening, Detective O'Malley. Ah, good evening to you too, Miss Lebedev. I give her a firm handshake, to which she tops it off with her usual bright smile. My apologies if you had to wait a bit, but it completely escaped me that you were coming over. Not to worry. I was supposed to be here sooner than this anyways. My apologies for taking up your evening. Not to worry. Everyone, myself included, are mostly just winding down right about now. She then walks over to her bed and sits down, making herself comfortable. I'm ready to start whenever you are. With a nod, I grab a chair and place it in front of her, sitting down and pulling out everything I need to get this started. I don't need to ask you about the heist itself, both because you've already been asked quite a lot about it already, but also due to the amount of information you've given us. Instead, I just have a small handful of questions to finish up this case. Is that alright? She gives me a nod, and with that, I open my notes and turn to a blank page. To start, have you noticed anything peculiar after the night of the heist? Anything peculiar? Everything's been the same as always, even down to how we spend our time, so no, I don't believe so. I see. I quickly jot that down, then remember there was something of interest in one of the earlier sessions that I wanted to follow up on as I flipped through my notes. Ah, yes, that reminds me. Your uncle mentioned you had lost a ring on the night of the heist? Were you able to find it by any chance? Yes, I have. A security guard from the museum came up to me not long after and returned it to me, saying it was in the lost and found. No, Irina, don't tell the detective a lie that can be easily followed up on. That's good. From the way your uncle was describing it, it seemed like it meant a lot to you. So I'm glad you recovered it. I'll write that down in my notes, then move on. Now my next question. Have you noticed anyone in the company acting odd or different since the heist? Miss Lebedev is silent for a moment, clearly taking the time to ponder my question. After a minute or so of being silent, she looks back at me and shakes her head. Not as far as I can tell, no. Everyone's been the same as usual, perhaps even a little better due to the extended break. Miss Volkov said something similar when I asked her this earlier. She also specifically mentioned that you seemed better as of late as well. I have? She blinks, stunned silent at Miss Volkov's account from earlier. Are you all right? Yes. I'm just surprised she could notice something like that. She lets out a heavy sigh, a solemn expression painting her face as she continues speaking. I admittedly am not the best at taking care of myself. I don't know my own limits, I don't take the time off I deserve, the list goes on. But you know, she's right. I have felt better as of late. This trip, and specifically Twin Bells, has given me the wake-up call I think I needed. She lets out an embarrassed chuckle. Granted, it's not going to happen immediately. But I think with this I can finally start to improve myself. A wake-up call, huh? Now I'm the silent one, twirling the pen in my hand as what she said resonates within me. I'd be lying to myself if I didn't admit I wasn't the smallest bit envious. In her words, I hear the sensible part of my brain, the part that tries and fails at getting me to take better care of myself. The part I push aside of my own volition so I can focus on work. Detective? Are you all right? Her concern snaps me out of my sudden melancholy as I clear my throat and turn my attention back to her. My apologies for that. Something suddenly came to mind. Let us continue. I flip open to a blank page and continue. Now, my last question for tonight. There's been reports of Forget-Me-Not being sighted around the hotel late at night. Would you happen to know anything that would help us verify these claims? Around the hotel? What would they want around here? I'm not sure, and personally I'm skeptical. But it's always better to confirm claims like these instead of brushing them off. She's silent once more, clearly deep in thought as she ponders my question. I tend to stay up a bit late due to not being able to fall asleep easily, but I can say I haven't seen anything. It's been how you'd expect, empty and quiet, aside from the occasional street noises. I hope that helps. It does. Thank you very much. I quickly jot that down, then close my notebook, the two of us standing back up together. That's all I needed from you. Thank you for being so cooperative, Ms. Lebedev. You're very welcome. I actually wanted to thank you as well, Detective. Oh, what for? For keeping that night at the theatre hall a secret from the others. I'm glad it was you I bumped into instead of a regular security officer, as I can only imagine how everyone would have reacted. This gets a small chuckle out of me as I adjust my glasses. Well then, you're very welcome. Just as long as you don't forget your belongings and have to make a midnight trip again. Now she's giggling at my quip with a bright smile painting her face. I'll try not to. I step towards the door and share another handshake and a nod. Thank you once again for your testimony tonight, and I wish you a good night. You're welcome, Detective. Good night to you too. Safe travels back home. I step out into the hallway and close the door behind me, staring at my documents with a heavy yawn. Home is exactly where I want to be right now. I can drop all these off at the precinct in the morning. The next morning. It felt like I'd just barely crawled into bed before I was so rudely awoken by my alarm this morning. Possibly a testament to how tired I am, but there isn't much I can do about that now. Come on, Aiden, keep it together. As I walk into the museum, I trade salutes with a handful of security guards stationed around the entrance, all of them looking much more awake and lively than I am. Promptly making my way to the main exhibit hall, I survey my surroundings and get my bearings straight. Considerable time has passed since the heist, and the exhibit has been proceeding as planned. So all we're looking for now is anything insignificant we could have overlooked earlier. The exhibit is closed today, so we can do one last formal sweep of the hall at our leisure. I'm not sure how much more we'll find. Feels like we've already exhausted our resources. But I'd rather be absolutely certain than to haphazardly call this done with. Along with the officers and security guards, I spot Sir Wilkinson having his usual jovial chats with one of his personal guards. He pauses as soon as he spots me, however, and makes his way over to greet me. "Good morning, Detective O'Malley." "Good morning, sir. I hope I didn't keep you waiting." "Oh, not at all, my boy. I had enough on my plate to make the time pass in a blur." I take another glance around the hall, turning back to Sir Wilkinson soon after. "I don't see Mr. Wilkinson around. Is he not here today?" "I'm afraid not. Max is quite busy and possibly won't be at the museum at all. Right about now, he should be at a meeting with the ballet company discussing the finale of the exhibit. I opted to stay behind here to keep an eye on everything." "Drag, this isn't the guy who drops his workload on us. That's the other guy with the mustache." "This is the guy with the mustache that's in charge of the museum, rather than the guy with the mustache who's our boss at the police." It's the Pringles man. Yeah, a little bit. "And of course to help you finish your investigation." "I appreciate that greatly, sir. I suppose that's all I'll get out of him for now. I don't have many questions to ask you, so I'll try not to take up too much of your time." He lets out a cheery chuckle before giving me a pat on the shoulder. "Don't worry, Detective. I'm in no rush. I still need to discuss some things with my personal guards, so feel free to take your time." "Thank you, sir." With a polite nod, Sir Wilkinson walks over to the western wall with his guard in tow. Meanwhile, I open up the inspector's list once more to confirm my tasks for today. This is quite simple, all things considered, so it shouldn't take too long. Now let's see. Let's look. So we have check in with forensics, meet with security, inspect the jewel, check for possible vantage points above, and talk to Sir Wilkinson. Well, let's check on the jewel. Sitting pretty in the middle of the hall is the jewel that caused everything. The Black Swan. The overhead lights bounce off of it, giving it a mesmerizing red glow that never fails to catch the attention of people walking by, myself included. I take some time to look at the jewel, not only to inspect it, but also to use it as an excuse to catch my breath. A whole heist happened because of this one jewel. I wonder, would the thief have even cared about the exhibit if this wasn't the main attraction? As I continue to stare at the Black Swan, I find myself reflecting on that question. In the past 4 years, Forget-Me-Not has primarily targeted any ornate, sentimental jewels the Wilkinsons get their hands on. Anytime the museum has some sort of precious gem on display, they can always expect a calling card soon after. Why, I wonder? They've never shown interest in anything else the museum has to offer. The fine art, the ancient pottery, the sculptures, none of that. And they always return the stolen gems soon after, like it's some sort of game to them. As I rack my brain trying to make sense of it all, the jewel glistens at me once more, making me let out a sigh. I suppose I'll admit, they always seem to have a knack for going for the prettiest gems. Especially this one. It's quite lovely. Feeling my exhaustion start to leave me, I adjust my glasses and check this one off of my itinerary. That's enough for now. There's other things to be done. Like check in with forensics. Detective O'Malley! A member of the forensics team in the middle of the room calls out to me while I'm deep in thought. When I turn to see what's going on, they motion for me to come towards them, which I do with hasty yet mindful steps. Good afternoon, Detective. Likewise. What's the status of your investigation? Unfortunately, not great, sir. They stand back up to see me at eye level and hand me a small handful of documents that I then begin to leaf through. We thoroughly looked into the feathers the thief used and how they snuck them into the exhibit, but unfortunately all of our leads came up cold. It seems they went through multiple channels and sources to procure the feathers, even outsourcing from outside of Twin Bells for a handful of them. I see. I assume you checked the sellers and any aliases they went under? That we did, sir. However, for the ones we could get in contact with, they apparently paid in cash, which doesn't leave us much of a paper trail to follow. As I flip through the documents some more, I sneak a glance around to the walls of the exhibit. Clean and orderly, with a new coat of paint after the fiasco that night caused. And what about them plastering the feathers along the walls? Sir, we've learned that Mr. Wilkinson hired a company the week before the exhibit to repaint the walls and touch things up. When we interrogated them, we learned that a select few painters were tasked with painting the very spots the feathers were hidden in, but we ran into another dead end. How does someone even backtrack a feather? Well, I assume there's a limit to the number of places at which you could buy feathers in bulk. And then I guess it's looking at the colour and figuring out what type of bird it comes from and stuff like that, I think. You can probably DNA match a feather to the bird it came from as well. But that feels possibly like overdoing it. What? How? Surely they must have a record of everyone who worked that day. And that's what we figured, however. They flipped the documents in my hand to the last page. A record of 2 specific employees from the hired company. These 2 were supposed to work that day, but when we questioned them, they said their boss had called them before their shifts. According to them, he said he had more than enough workers for that day, but that they'd still be compensated. They swear up and down it was their boss's voice over the phone, but when we asked, he says he never called them that day. So, it's highly likely that our thief and one of their accomplices made that phone call, then took over for them to hide the feathers. Once again, that damn thief predicted our every move well before the exhibit was even ready. With an annoyed huff, I hand the papers back to the forensics officer. Well, those might have come up empty. I'd still like your team to continue their last sweep of the hall. Contact me as soon as anything pops up. Yes, sir. With a firm salute, they crouch back down and continue to look over the evidence laying before them. So that's checking with the forensics. We can't talk to Mr. Wilkinson yet. Meet with security, check possible vantage points. Check possible vantage points. I take another look around the hall, this time more thoroughly, as my eyes are led up to the giant skylight that sits above. That skylight. Thinking back to the night of the heist, I was surprised at how the thief was able to ascertain that Miss Lebedev had the jewel in her possession. But just having a bird's eye view of the exhibit hall wouldn't amount to much without some sort of informant or a way for them to inspect the jewels. And from that high up, even with binoculars, it'd be quite difficult. We not only did roll calls several times before the heist as per usual, but heavily interrogated and confirmed alibis for everyone afterwards as well. I continue to stare up at the ceiling, racking my brain to try and think of some sort of explanation. The only possibility is that there's a mole working in the museum for them. And until we finally have a clue who that mole is, we'll never be able to figure out how that thief manages to succeed every time. Although, my eyes wander towards Sir Wilkinson, who smiles at me cheerfully after our eyes meet. It's sad to say that I wouldn't be surprised if he was the mole, considering how much he loves the heists. I'm not about to accuse him out of nowhere, of course. This is purely just speculation. It feels like accurate speculation. Security. As I'm surveying the exhibit hall, an officer stationed near the eastern wall waves at me for my attention. Detective O'Malley! I walk over to them with haste as they offer me a quick salute. Good day, Detective. Likewise, what can I do for you? Sir, I'm a member of the team in charge of keeping watch over the crime scene at all times. I was told by the officer before me that we have some new information to share with you. Perfect. Just what I wanted to hear. What exactly is this new information? They reach into their bag and pull out a stack of documents, handing them to me as they continue. First off, the technicians from the museum got back to us about what happened with the ventilation system. All of their findings are written in careful detail in those pages you now hold. Flipping through the stack of papers confirms what they say, as each page is filled to the brim with schematics and paragraphs about the fans and vents. They also include information regarding how and when the thief and their accomplices could have taken over the system. Excellent. This will be a big help. What other information do you have? Sir, this last one is about the previous heist, the Sunrise Glow. Our team and the museum staff were able to confirm your theory about the thief's trick that night by replicating it ourselves. I knew it. That's fantastic news. That will finally help us close the case and improve security from here on out. Write up a full document detailing the confirmation and fax it to the precinct as soon as you can. Yes, sir. It's still so surprising, though. The inspector was so certain that your theory about the jewel being swapped out for a fake to begin with was wrong. And yet no matter how many times we tested it out, it came out exactly as it did on that night. Yep. I remember clearly when I first brought it up to him. Are you hearing yourself right now, Detective? The jewel wasn't there to begin with. I know it sounds ridiculous, but based on what we found, it makes the most sense. Inspector Harrison continues to holler, holding himself steady on his desk. You're killing me here, my boy! Let's assume you're right, then, that the jewel was fake so the thief could do some trick with the lights. Then why make the whole heist to begin with? For fun! It makes perfect sense, though. Using the glass panes we found set up inside the stand, the thief would shine a light onto the fake jewel. And if you timed that with the lights turning on, that would give off the effect that the jewel blinded us. Unfazed by the inspector's continued laughter, I adjust my glasses. I've already set up a team at the museum to test my theory. They'll report back with their findings soon. I look forward to seeing that then! Ha ha ha! And look who was right. Me, as always. Seeing the officer staring at me in silence, I clear my throat and bring my attention back to our conversation. Regardless, this will help us combat whatever the thief may try to do in the future, so be sure to give my thanks to the rest of the team. Of course, sir. We'll let you know first if any more information comes in. Excellent. Keep up the good work. Offering another firm salute, the officer returns to their post, and I continue my survey of the exhibit. That's everything. I think I'm just about ready to talk to Sir Wilkinson now. Sir Wilkinson appears to be finished talking to one of his security guards, and I take that as my cue to finally speak to him. He spots me heading his way and gives that jolly smile he often wears proudly. My apologies for the wait, Detective. Not to worry, sir. I had some other things on my agenda to do in the meantime. More of Simon's itinerary, I assume. How did you... He lets out a hearty laugh. Come now, I've known the man for many years, so I've grown accustomed to the stunts he pulls. I knew for a fact he was supposed to be here today, and seeing you here in his stead made it obvious he shifted his workload onto you again. I become silent, hearing Sir Wilkinson go on, resorting to averting my gaze to hide my embarrassment. It's really no trouble at all. The inspector just had some unexpected work added to his own pile. Of course, that's how it always is with him. What was it this time, if I may ask? I'm not privy to the details. But Commissioner Desjardins is back in the city and asked the inspector to assist him with something. Oh, Eric is back! No wonder things have seemed more lively in the northern end. It's been such a long time since I last spoke with him. Perhaps I should set aside some time. He chuckles once more, while I pull out a pen and notepad, adjusting my glasses as I clear my throat. Regardless, I'm still ready and willing to finish everything the inspector has assigned to me today, the last of which being this final round of questioning. There's not too many things I wish to ask of you, but I still try to not take up too much of your time. Take as long as you want, Detective. It's no problem for me. On cue, I open my notebook to a blank page, ready to get this over with. First of all, have you noticed anything odd or out of place while the exhibit has been running? The centerpiece was Forget-Me-Not's main target, after all, so there's a slight chance they have some unfinished business with it. Sir Wilkinson takes some time to quietly think to himself before shaking his head as he answers. Not that I'm aware of, no. The exhibit has gone off without a hitch, and security... Whoops, I hit that way too soon. And security has kept a very close eye on the jewel since it began. I see. As I jot that down, Sir Wilkinson speaks up once more. However, that reminds me. I heard that Max called you in to talk about something. If it's not too much trouble, may I ask what it was exactly? Ah, so you haven't been told yet. My apologies, I assumed you knew. Mr. Wilkinson called me because they spotted something odd on one of the security cameras when they looked through the footage a second time. We're not entirely sure if it warrants suspicion, but he wanted to be sure I was aware of it. And I'm certain he still has those tapes set aside in his office if you wish to look at them. So that's what it was. I'll have to take a look later then. Now for my next question. Have you noticed anyone acting strangely before or after the heist? Once again, Sir Wilkinson shakes his head at me. I have not, no. Everything's been the same as always. Albeit the heist and the exhibit have both made everyone busier than usual, but that's to be expected. I imagine it's the same over at the precinct for all of you. It's been about the same, workload-wise, even considering the situation with the ballet. I let out a deep sigh as I tapped my pen against my notebook. Things would go much smoother if that thief wouldn't come up with such outlandish heists every time. Oh, but that's what makes the heist so enjoyable. Things would be quite mundane if they did the same thing every time. You certainly enjoy these heists, don't you, sir? More than you can imagine, my boy. It's obvious that Forget-Me-Not is just having some harmless fun, and they're just what the city needed after all these years. But I can tell they're not the only one having fun at the heists. Am I wrong, detective? I mean... no comment. As I try to save face, Sir Wilkinson lets out another jolly laugh. Heed my advice, detective. Cherish this moment. While they may seem like a nuisance, there will come a time when they won't be around anymore and you'll be wishing for them to return. It's always nice how mundane our lives it's always nice with how mundane our lives can be to have something extraordinary every once in a while. They place their hand on my shoulder with a smile, which makes me let out a sigh. I'll try to keep that in mind, sir. I take a quick glance at my notes, then close the notebook back up as I compose myself. That's just about everything I needed from you, sir. Thank you once again for taking the time to speak to me. You're welcome, detective. There's no trouble at all. If anything comes up, I'll be sure to contact you as soon as possible. Thank you, sir. Ooh. Are you all right, detective? I'm fine. No need to worry. I do my best to shake off the sudden fatigue, but Sir Wilkinson continues to give me a worried stare. If you're absolutely certain, just be careful not to push yourself too hard. Of course, no worries. Take care, sir. You too, detective. And I mean it when I say not to push yourself. With a polite nod, I start to make my way out of the museum, albeit with slower steps. Come on, Aiden. We still have much to do today. As I walk back out of the museum, I trade salutes with the guards stationed outside once more, though feeling much more drained than I was earlier. At the last step down the stairs, I take a deep breath and rub my eyes. I feel like shit. Maybe I can call in and... No, I can't. This will just end up piling up again. In the middle of my train of thought, I spot something in the corner of my vision. As I turn to look, I barely manage to catch a glimpse of someone walking around the building. The museum is closed today, and there's nothing of note along that side. I wonder... My curiosity gets the better of me as I decide to follow whoever this is. When I peek around the wall, I spot them walking out of the side entrance with something in hand. As I squint to get a better look, I realize what it is they're carrying. Security tapes! Stop right there! Yeah! Upon noticing me, they bolt in the other direction, still carrying the tapes under their arm. Uh-oh. Oh, for the love of... With an annoyed huff, I quickly start giving chase, doing my best to try to catch up with them. Stop! My instincts kick in, guiding me forward as I chase after the thief past the museum and through a nearby alley. In an instant, the rest of the world turns into a blur, as the only thing on my mind is catching up to whoever this is. But I can't seem to close the distance between us, and they get further and further away. Come on, just a little bit. No, not now. My legs suddenly start to feel heavy, and my lungs get tighter with every step I take. I can feel myself slowing down to a crawl as my vision starts to wane. I can barely make out the thief, who seemingly stopped in place and is looking back at me. Just a little further. My whole body starts to feel heavy, and breathing only gets more difficult as I try to press onward. Meanwhile, the thief is still staying in place, staring at me as the world around me starts to spin. Ugh. Desiree is too nice. She's too nice. In an instant, my body gives up on me as I fall onto my side with barely any strength left to even raise my head. Detective! I can barely make out someone, perhaps that thief, kneeling beside me as they try to bring me back to my senses. Detective, are you okay? Please say something, can you hear me? Detective! Detective! My head. No! Desiree, you're far too nice! You're going to get yourself caught. You're far too nice. My head was pounding harder than it ever has as I opened my eyes and squint at my surroundings. It takes a few blinks for me to realize I wasn't wearing my glasses, prompting me to search for them. Where am I? They're on the table next to you. The unfamiliar voice catches me off guard, but I manage to feel out my glasses sitting next to me like they said. I quickly put them on, blinking as my vision finally becomes clearer, before realizing where that voice came from. Or rather, from who. Forget-me-not? I'm not sure if this is better or worse. That's alright. You're going to have to blindfold him to get him out of your hideout. In my shock, I try to get up, but my head starts pounding once more, causing me to fall back on the bed I'm lying in. Oh, whoa, take it easy. You're in no shape to be moving around right now. Despite my vision still spinning, I managed to sit up again, staring at the thief in disbelief. Where am I? You're, in a safe place? That doesn't make me feel comfortable at all. I know, but it's the best answer I can give you. I look around a little, holding my head as it continues to throb in pain. Wasn't I at the museum? Why am I... It then suddenly dawns on me as I look back at them. That thief near the museum, was that you? Why were you there? And the tapes? What did you do with them? Calm down. Jeez, you're always so ready to just jump right back into the action, aren't you? And they shake their head with a sigh. Yes, that was me, guilty as charged. But don't worry, I already gave the tapes back a while ago after looking through them. If I knew they didn't have anything useful on them, I wouldn't have bothered in the first place. A while ago? How long was I out for? A few hours? Maybe about 4 or 5? That long? I scan the room until I spot a clock on the wall confirming their statement. Meanwhile, the thief gives me a worried stare with those bright blue eyes of theirs. Yeah, you were out cold. You even hit your head as you fell. I panicked seeing you suddenly fall over and I didn't know what to do. So I asked a friend to help me carry you here so you can try and recover even a little bit. But to take me here, wherever this is? Wouldn't it have been easier to take me to the hospital instead? We weren't that far from one, if I remember correctly. Oh, yeah, sure, great idea. Just carry you on my back all the way to the hospital after a couple of museum employees already saw you chase someone not long beforehand. How am I going to explain that one? Fair enough. And I have my driver's license on me. You could have looked through my belongings and taken me back home at least. That judgmental stare they're giving me only gets stronger. I'm not going to search through someone's belongings without their permission, especially since you just fainted. Do you know how bad that would have looked? Someone would have thought I mugged you or something. For a thief, you sure have your morals. Our conversation gets interrupted by the sound of someone climbing up a set of stairs towards us. Hey kid, I'm back! What the fuck?! The entire room quickly goes silent after his outburst as the two of us stare at each other in shock. Well, I'm going with Crow wasn't the person who was asked to help then. It was probably Andre. I'm speechless, my eyes darting back and forth between him and Forget-Me-Not, unsure how to process what I'm seeing right now. But sure enough, before me is none other than Sungwon Kim, aka Crow, one of the most notorious thieves in all of Twin Bells. After trying for what seems like an eternity at this point, I finally managed to utter something. Hello, Hunter. How are you doing? Wouldn't Andre have warned Crow? Yeah, but I very much doubt she asked Arena for this. I mean, I guess she could have. Who knows? Am I in hell? That's my line. He turns his gaze over to Forget-Me-Not, who's trying to avert theirs sheepishly. Kid, we need to talk. Now. I'll be right back. Yeah, Ramona might have. That's true, it could have been Ramona. Which I would have said if it hadn't taken me a couple of minutes to remember her name. The two of them walk out of the room and close the door behind them, leaving me all alone in my own thoughts. Of all the things I could have learned, I was not expecting to learn that those two knew each other. My headache slowly starts to subside, not enough to let me stand up, mind you, as I start to look around the room more clearly. Not much else I can do at this point now. Let's see. I will say, good job, Desiree. The family photo is not here. On the table next to me is a glass of water and some painkillers. I pick up the bottle and examine it thoroughly, then twist it open. A brand new bottle. I guess they figured I'd be wary of it. As I feel my headache from earlier still lingering, I decide to shake a pill out and pop it into my mouth, helping it down with a full glass of water. Placing both back on the table, I then lay down and wait for the medicine to take effect. Considering how bad I feel right now, I'm probably going to be stuck in bed when I'm back home. Oh, I'd be a lot worse off if Forget-Me-Not hadn't helped me. Maybe I should thank them properly later. Look at the cactus. Yes, I'm looking at a cactus. While I'm looking around, a cute little cactus on the desk beside me catches my attention. Its deep green colour shows that this little one is being very well taken care of. Why am I not surprised someone named after a flower knows how to take care of plants? It's quite cute though. Makes me wish I'd grabbed one of these from Ramona's along with the little one I have at home. Maybe I can grab another. I haven't been to her shop in ages. In between the door these two exited from, and the closet is a medium-sized corkboard with a bunch of papers pinned all over it. I tried to squint and read what's on them, but most of them either don't have anything interesting or were flipped around. They must have spent some time hiding any incriminating information before I woke up. The boxes in the corner of the room are also sealed up tight, and they have no labels on them. I let out a deep sigh then as I stare at the closed door to the room I'm in. I wonder if they would have been as cautious if I wasn't a detective. Off on the other side of the room, I spot another bed. It's very simple looking, no headboard, and with just a single pillow and a blanket messily thrown on top of it with no thought. I wonder. Crow was wearing some rather casual clothing, so perhaps he lives here with Forget-Me-Not? And it could mean he's their main accomplice, which would explain why it seems like their heists always go so smoothly. I shake my head and force myself to stop this train of thought. This is exactly why you're in this situation, Aiden. You can never stop thinking about work. Save it for when the thought of standing up doesn't make the world do a 360. I try to stand up from the bed I'm laying in, but fail again as my head starts to spin. I'm forced to lay back down and wait for it to stop, reflecting on everything. To think this all happened because I didn't take better care of myself. I'm embarrassed. I'm doing fine today, Hunter, and the game is going great. I am very much enjoying it. I can't begin to imagine what it would have been like if that thief hadn't brought me here to recover. I then start to think about Forget-Me-Not and what they must have gone through while I was unconscious. I feel bad thinking about how that thief must have felt seeing me just collapse suddenly. Even I probably would have panicked if I was in their shoes. As the headache finally subsides, I slowly sit back up. Not much I can do at this point. When I get home, I need to force myself to take a couple of days off just to sleep. Even if it means the workload back at the precinct will grow exponentially while I'm gone. I can just barely hear Forget-Me-Not and Crow outside the door as Crow angrily lectures them. Why in God's name did you bring that detective here? Do you not realize how dangerous that is? I had no choice. They suddenly passed out and I had to do something. I wasn't going to leave them lying on the concrete. When I called him for help, he was the one who helped me bring them here after I explained everything. So she did call Andre then. Alright, see ya, Hunter. Oh, for the love of... He should not have encouraged this. Do you two want to get caught? No, but I also don't want to sit around and do nothing after seeing someone fall unconscious in front of me. Gee, I sure feel welcome here. I lay back down, tuning them out as they drone on. After looking around a little, the door to the room opens again, with Forget-Me-Not and Crow walking in soon after. Do you understand now? Yes, I get it. You can stop lecturing me now. Forget-Me-Not takes a seat on the other bed while Crow stares at me from the corner of his vision. I'm going to talk to him. Give him a good lecture about this whole situation since he enabled this. You stay here and keep an eye on them while I do so, got it? Got it, got it. Crow heads out of the room, but not before shooting me a nasty glare as he closes the door behind him. Forget-Me-Not lets out a deep sigh, staring at the door and then at me. I'm sorry about that. I knew he was going to be angry, but I just didn't realize how angry. No worries. I completely understand his disdain for me, given the circumstances. With a shake of their head, they wipe that melancholy look off their face and continue. If you need anything while I'm here, like medicine or water, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, you can pretend I'm not here. Thank you? They then get comfortable and stare at the door while I stare at them awkwardly. I suppose I'll just keep looking around. Still a few things left. Is there? Well, I guess just forget me not. The thief is still staring at the door, seemingly deep in thought. But they soon turn to look at me and shoot a quick smile. What's up? Do you need anything? No, I'm fine, thank you. I'm sorry if I caused you any problems. Ah, you mean with Crow? Yeah, that could have gone better. He is right about this being extremely risky, but that wasn't going to stop me from helping you. They pause for a moment, then look at me with a confused stare. What happened back there, though? You've never fainted like that during any of our other chases. Ah, well. I try and fail to come up with an excuse in my head, deciding it's better to be honest. And I've been kind of overexerting myself as of late. I suppose it just hit me all at once running after you. They simply blink at me in silence before muttering something under their breath. Why has everyone been overworking themselves? Yep. Everyone? Forget-me-not quickly clears their throats, moving right past the comment they made. Anyway! You know, you really shouldn't overwork yourself so much, Detective. It's not good for you. How ironic, considering that the reason I'm so overworked in the first place is lecturing me right now. Oh, please. We both know that even without me around, the others at the precinct would have found something else to shove into your workload. Touché. Regardless, your little heists always add a sizable pile to my already large workload. This time especially. Believe me, I'm also feeling the effects of these back-to-back heists. With a sheepish laugh, they bounce back to the perky attitude they had earlier. Then, I suppose it's a good thing I brought you here after all. You probably would have waltzed right back into the precinct had I just taken you elsewhere. With an annoyed sigh, I fall onto my back once more to tune them out, unable to argue with them. Well, jokes aside, if you do need anything, just let me know. We're technically enemies, but I still want to help. With that, they turn to face the door once more as I stare at them and ponder everything. Forget-me-not. A little while later, Forget-me-not stands up and walks my way. Hold still for a second. They lightly place their hand on my forehead and then give a nod after a little bit. Still a little hot, but I think that's enough for now. How bad was it when I passed out? Definitely a lot hotter. You must have shot your immune system from overworking and caught something. But a little bed rest, some fluids, and you'll be as good as new. I see. My mind starts to wander before I turn back to look at them. What happens now, however? I imagine you're not going to keep me here until I've fully recovered. That cheery face they have quickly changes to a more serious stare. Well, this was just a temporary thing from the beginning, as I had no desire to keep you here longer than necessary. So I'd like to ask your permission to learn where you live, so we can help you take you back home so you can properly rest. I'll only need it for one moment, so I hope you can take me for my word that I won't do anything else with this knowledge. I see. Very well then. It's fine by me as long as you truly are being honest. Great! It'll be easier to take you back while you're resting, so feel free to get some shut-eye in the meantime. You need as much as you can, after all. Is something wrong? A million thoughts cross my mind as I stare at Forget-Me-Not, and after a bit of silence on my part, one thought manages to escape me. Why? Why are you helping me? Huh? What do you mean? I mean all of this. Risking your identity by bringing me here, hiding things so I don't learn context clues if I were to wake up. Not to mention purposefully avoiding saying names of people affiliated with you. You took all these risks just to help me. So why? They stare at me in silence as their curious gaze changes into a look of concern. Do I really need a reason to help you? Yes, considering the circumstances, it would be incredibly idiotic to even risk this, as even one slip of the tongue or one forgotten item could reveal me instantly. But even with that, I wanted to help. I know you may hate me, considering these past few years, but even despite that, you're one of the few officers I respect at the precinct. So understand that this is just me acting on my own instincts and... My vision suddenly goes blurry as another dizzy spell starts to take a hold of me. Detective? Detective, are you okay? Their voice starts to fade out more and more, while my head feels like it's being flipped all around. Just lay down. I can get you some more water. I can feel them laying me on my back, but their voice continues to become more distant with each passing moment. With the last of my strength, I barely muster a response. But I don't hate you. Detective O'Malley! Crow! I slowly open eyes and suddenly see my room before me, just the way I left it the other morning. After blinking a few times, I feel out my glasses near me and simply stare, confused by everything that happened. I really am back home. Forget-Me-Not and that room I was in. Was it all just a dream? My train of thought is interrupted when I spot a card left on my nightstand, adorned with a certain someone's signature that I know all too well. I pick it up and read it to myself. Good morning, Detective. After you passed out, Crow helped me bring you back home so you can finally rest in your own bed. Sorry we looked through your belongings to find your address, and I hope it's all right since you technically gave us permission beforehand. Just to make sure you actually take care of yourself, I sent the precinct an email under your name saying you're taking some time off due to being unwell. You can be mad at me for that later. With that all said, I hope you rest up well, Detective. Signed, Forget-Me-Not. With a sigh, I put the card back where they left it, then lay back down. That thief is an odd one for sure. Taking off my glasses once more, I close my eyes to start getting the rest I've needed for ages. Hey, Ramona's. A few days later. As expected, I ended up being bedridden for the next few days, only getting up to eat, take medicine, and do other such things. I feel a little better today, not well enough to go back to work, so I decided to go for a quick walk for some fresh air. I didn't have a clear destination in mind, so I let my instincts carry me, and now I'm standing on Sidewind Avenue, right outside Ramona's. Oh no! Oh no! This could be a problem. Depending on how good a look at Forget-Me-Not's face he got. Make sure the detective pets the cat, of course. Everyone pet the cat. Not the worst place I could have ended up. Foot traffic at this time of day tends to be a bit of a headache, however. My eyes wander down the street and a thought crosses my mind. I wonder. That place Forget-Me-Not took me to. I swear I've seen an angled roof like that on this street. Oh no! I believe it was that bar, the Gallant Rogue. That's the first thing that comes to mind. As I continue looking down the street, I sleepily adjust my glasses. It wouldn't hurt to take a look. I could use something to drink as well. No, that's the even more dangerous option. Also, cat. As I'm walking down the street, a little orange cat tucked away on an alley catches my attention. I take a quick look around, then kneel down to give it a gentle scratch on the chin. You're that little cat Ramona keeps in the shop, aren't you? The last time I visited, you weren't here yet. A quick glance at its name tag tells me its name is Marigold. Meanwhile, the little thing buries its head into my hand. Wow, those are loud purrs. I've never seen a cat be this friendly before. Although, I suppose this is just the kind of emotional medicine I needed after being stuck in bed for so long. I get up and brush any dirt off of my pants as Marigold stares at me with those big eyes of theirs. I see your meows are loud too. You're so similar to your owner. I'll be back soon, I promise. As if understanding me, they turn back around and sit in the spot they were at earlier, looking very pleased. Ramona's Flowers, the cozy shop before me, is one of the most beloved stores in the city, and that's mostly due to Miss Ramona herself. She is honestly one of the nicest people I've had the pleasure of meeting. When I first moved here, I figured I'd feel a bit homesick, so I dropped in to grab a plant to liven up my flat. I got to talking with Ramona, and she was super welcoming after learning how far I moved. I have a lot of respect for Miss Ramona, not only because of how thoughtful she is, but also because of how stubborn she is about giving people a good service. Those two factors combined made me realize early on why everyone loves her in this store so much. Can we go in? As nice as it would be to visit Ramona right about now, I can't really justify doing that while on my walk. Really? You can't justify going in a shop on your walk? Especially since she'll know I'm in the market for another plant somehow. I look back up the street I came from, noting the distance it is back to my flat. Yeah, no, I'm not carrying a plant with me all the way back. I'll just swing by with my car on a better day. But you could just get a little plant. Further down the street, I can barely see the bar, its unique shape making it stand out among the buildings around it. I've never actually been to the Gallant Rogue before, but I constantly hear good things about it. The food is really good for the price. The owner and employees are nice to be around. I've heard just about everything about that bar. Staring down the street some more, I find myself lost in my own thoughts. It also has a lot of Scarlet Rose iconography or memorabilia inside, as I recall. Well, even if my hunch is wrong, it'd still be nice to get something to drink after all this walking. And to see if it really does live up to all the praise. A short walk later, and I arrive in front of the Gallant Rogue, my destination. The bar itself sits right on the corner of the street, acting as a divider between the shops to the north and the offices to the south. I stare at it deeply, most notably the second floor and its angled roof. It wouldn't hurt to try and confirm my hunch, as the worst that could happen is I'm simply overthinking things. Either way, I'll end up with something to drink by the end of it, which is probably what I need most, to be honest. Which or both of Crow and Desiree is going to be working? Well, I mean, it's during the day. Desiree's probably at Ramona's. So I'm going with Crow. Right next to me is a small bakery. Simple in design, but homey at the same time. The window at the front is lined with displays of various pastries they offer inside, ranging from pies to tarts, just about anything you'd like, really. The clerk sweeping near the front notices me staring into the store and walks up to me with a smile. Good day, sir. Oh, Detective O'Malley! Fancy seeing you around these parts. Oh, good day to you too. This is my first time walking in this area in particular, to be honest, so forgive me for loitering. No, it's all right. You're welcome to go inside and pick something out. If there's anything you're in the mood for, the boss will be happy to whip it up for you. Whip it up. That wasn't even intentional. Oy vey. I'm not in the mood for anything at the moment, but I'll be sure to drop by on my way back. Of course. Feel free, Detective. With a happy nod, the clerk goes back to their sweeping as I stare into the store a little more. Maybe something sweet would be nice to get on the way back home. Just as a little treat. Nearby a small TV store, I overhear a couple of ladies gossiping to each other about just about anything that they're reminded of. It feels like it's been ages since the last heist. The wait for the next one always puts me on edge. The ballet exhibit is almost over, so maybe Sir Wilkinson will bring in something new that Forget-Me-Not will want to steal. That's usually how it goes, at least. That's true. I'll be rooting for Detective O'Malley either way, though, when the next one happens. The woman suddenly pauses, noticing me loitering near them while staring into the shop. Detective O'Malley! The other woman turns around because of her friend's outburst, sharing the same shocked expression after noticing me. Oh my god, it's Detective O'Malley! Could we ask for an autograph, Detective? Could I get a picture? My apologies, but I'm a bit busy right now. Oh, but it'll just take a minute or two. A clerk from inside the store suddenly knocks on the window, catching the women's attention to give them a stern look. Sorry we bothered you, Detective. We hope you have a good day. As the two of them go back to their idle chatter, the clerk inside gives me a thumbs up, and I give them a grateful nod in return. Phew, I'm saved. I don't have the energy to deal with those kinds of people right now. I find myself standing in front of the gallant rogue, staring at its rustic yet classy appearance. Its dark brick exterior and unique shape makes it stand out in the area, and yet also makes it feel right at home. As I look in through the window, I spot all of the Scarlet Rose memorabilia and iconography decorating the walls of the interior. I knew about the homages to the Scarlet... I knew that the homages to the Scarlet Rose were one of the key talking points about this bar's appearance, but I wasn't expecting this much. I steal another glance inside, noting the handful of people happily chatting, enjoying the food and each other's company. I'm honestly still surprised at just how much this city loves Phantom Thieves, and Scarlet Rose in specific. Sure, I read the case files and watched the old newsreels of their heists, but I suppose it's not the same as actually living through them. My mind wanders to my talk with Sir Wilkinson at the museum. I wonder how many people are like him, and where that thief managed to change their whole worldview. Either way, I suppose the legacy the Scarlet Rose left behind is what helped get this place started. What's further down here? Anything? No. Okay. Am I ready to head inside? Yes. I walk up to the main entrance and stare at the door for a moment as I collect my thoughts. Come on, Aiden, it's just a bar. What do you even expect to happen? At the end of the day, you're just on a walk and decided to get something to drink, alright? Don't overthink this, like you always do. With a deep breath, I open the door as the bell on the other side welcomes me in with its gentle sound. The overall mood changes as soon as I step into the bar. Any sound from the outside fades out, as the subtle jazz music playing on the speakers manages to fill the room. The TV near the counter is on, currently playing a rerun of the morning news to the almost empty bar now the lunch rush is over. And along every wall, many in number but not overwhelming, are various decorations relating to the Scarlet Rose. People always talk it up, but it's even more impressive in person. Yeah, it does sound like the door has a bell. Obviously that's useful so that Andre can know when people are arriving. If he's like in the kitchen or whatever. There's so much more than I was expecting. All these newspaper clippings, photos of the things he stole. Well, well, look who it is. I'm suddenly taken out of my awe by a voice calling from the other side of the room. The source of that voice appears to be the person standing behind the counter, who I recognize as Andre Daniels, the owner and main bartender. Nice to finally see you, Detective O'Malley. I walk over to the counter and sit down on one of the stools neatly lined up in front of it. All the while, he puts away what he's currently working on to give me his full, undivided attention. It's rare to see you in these parts, Detective. Are you not a fan of my decor, perchance? That smug remark of his leaves me feeling a bit embarrassed as I push up my glasses to hide it. No, that's not it. I've just never had time to visit the area is all. It's absolutely nothing personal, Mr. You can just call me Andre. Thank you. So, what made you change your mind? I felt a little parched on my walk, so I figured I'd drop in for a quick drink. I've been kind of sick as of late, so I needed to stretch my legs. A chuckle escapes from Andre as that smug look returns. Wow, detective, didn't take you for a day drinker. You wish. Me and alcohol don't get along at all. The remark managed to get a proper laugh out of him this time. Fair enough. I happen to make more than just cocktails here, so I'd be more than happy to get you something non-alcoholic to drink if you so wish. That would be perfect. Then could I get coffee or tea? Tea. Always tea. Some tea, please. Sure thing. Anything you're specifically in the mood for? Not too sure. I'm always open to trying new teas, so why not something under your recommendation? Alright, I already have something in mind. Tightening the apron on his waist, Andre ducks into the kitchen with proud steps. Meanwhile, I decide to look around the room some more, continuing to stare at all of the decor on the walls. I recognize the newspaper clippings from the case files I read. Back then, and even now, I'm still amazed by how much the Scarlet Rose accomplished in the years they were around. Their MO was also pretty similar to Forget-Me-Nots, especially with how they returned what they stole each time. It's obvious they were a huge inspiration to them. It doesn't take long before I spot Andre walking back out of the kitchen, gently carrying a cup my way. He slides the drink towards me, pulls out a lemon slice from the mini fridge nearby and places it on the rim. Tea with a lemon slice on the rim, huh? I feel like there is a small number of things that is likely to be. Enjoy! I briefly stare at the drink before me, awing at its bright red colour that's practically glistening under the lights. Okay, so it's red. If it's red, it's either a red bush or a herbal tea. I think it's probably a herbal tea. Because I don't think red bush gets quite that bright. So it's a herbal tea, probably with like... It's probably a fruit, more of a fruit tea actually, rather than a herbal tea actually. With a quick blow, I take a sip from the cup and immediately feel the slightly sweet yet tart flavour enveloping me. Yes. I have a reasonable idea of what this is now. I have a tea similar to this. Slightly sweet yet tart, yep. Any exhaustion I had slowly disappears with each sip, as the sourness does its best to wake me up. I don't recognize this flavour, what is it? It's hibiscus, a new personal favourite of mine. Yep, had a feeling hibiscus was going to be involved there. Is it just hibiscus or is it something else, Andre? You said you were sick recently and this is a great tea to help you recover. Thank you, that's very kind of you. It's pretty sour though, could I get a bit of sugar? As you wish. On cue, he pulls out a jar of sugar from the cabinets below. After sprinkling a little into my drink, I take another sip and feel the sweetness help balance out the tea. Much better. While taking sips of my drink, my eyes wander back around the bar and stare at everything again. Everyone always talks up how much of an homage to the late thief this place is. I didn't believe it until I finally saw it for myself. Since you're such a huge fan of them, I'm curious what your opinion on Forget-Me-Not is. A small chuckle escapes from Andre. Is this an interrogation, detective? No, it's merely my own curiosity. I'm just teasing you, don't worry. My opinion's on Forget-Me-Not, huh? They look around the room, deep in thought, before looking back at me with another smile. I suppose I'm quite a big fan of their work too. I grew up during the Scarlet Rose era, you know. There aren't any words I could use to describe the sheer awe I felt watching that man disguise himself as anyone, then escape without a trace. It stuck with me, and I wanted to give back to the man that inspired me so much, which is why I opened up a bar in homage. I always thought to myself, I'd love to treat them to a drink as thanks for the joy they brought me. I sigh happily before continuing their train of thought. Seeing everything Forget-Me-Not is doing is giving me that same feeling I had as a kid all those years ago. And I can guarantee that a lot of kids these days are probably going through the same thing I did. I continue taking sips of my drink, processing their heartfelt answer. Everyone I've asked has said something similar about them. The city really does love Phantom Thieves, doesn't it? More than you can ever imagine, detective. And if I can be honest, Twin Bells doesn't have anything going for it other than that. You want history, picturesque buildings and landscapes, popular tourist areas? Dozens of other cities in the country offer more than we do. But the Scarlet Rose helped give Twin Bells its identity and something for everyone in the city to love. I see. What about you? I pause, caught off guard by their question. What about me? I'm asking what's your opinion of Forget-Me-Not? I'm the lead detective on their case. Do you really need to ask? Once again they chuckle, then lean forward on the counter to my eye level. Oh, please, detective. If you didn't like them, you'd already be ranting about them by now. Touché. My opinion on them, huh? I'm honestly not sure. It could be pretty annoying to clean up after their heists and chase them to the ends of the earth for the things they stole. And yet I can't bring myself to hate them. Not sure why. I stare at what's left of my drink, trying to put into words why I feel that way, but come up empty. All the while, Andre simply stares at me before standing back up and leaning on the counter behind him. Let me ask you this then. Would you be happy if Forget-Me-Not wasn't around anymore? Well, I try to come up with an answer, but nothing manages to escape from me. I rest my head in my hands, really racking my brain to think of something to say, but come up blank once more. Just then, Andre speaks up, interrupting my train of thought. So, that's how it is for you, huh? Well, don't worry. You don't have to give me an answer right now. You can take as long as you want to figure things out. I'd hate to loiter, though. And you probably have things you need to do before the dinner rush. Then, take these thoughts with you when you leave, and really think them through. And when you finally have your answer, you can come visit again and tell me. I'm always happy to listen. I'll be sure to take you up on that offer then. I finish my drink with a satisfied sigh, then slide some cash out of my wallet onto the counter. Thank you, Andre, for the drink and for the talk. Any time, detective. You're more than welcome here. Take care on your way home now. I will. Thank you. As I make my way back to the front door, I pause briefly to stare at the photos on the wall once more. My opinion on Forget-Me-Not, huh? With a quick wave back to Andre, I walk back outside onto Sidewind Avenue. A few days later. It takes a while, but I'm finally in good enough shape to return to work. Although I've been dreading the pile of work that's been waiting for me this whole time, I'm also glad to finally be back after everything. As I walk in, greeting every officer along the way who welcomes me back, I spot a certain someone waiting near my desk. "Welcome back, O'Malley!" With a deep belly laugh, he happily slams his hand into my back with even more gusto than usual. "Thank you, Inspector. And my apologies for suddenly taking time off the past week." "It's no worry at all, Detective. I understand completely. We're all glad to have you back, me especially." I hold back a sigh, as I already know what he's implying. Ah, boy. I assume there's some work you'd like me to assist with? "Ha ha! You catch on quick, O'Malley. Here, follow me to my office." As soon as he's out of earshot, I let out a deep sigh, then follow after him. Inspector Harrison lets me in first, then closes the door once we're both inside. Although it's not super messy, his office is looking slightly more disheveled than it usually does, as several boxes and folders of cases litter the inside. What happened in here? "Ah, well, it's that time of year again. The Commissioner wants us to square away all the old cases and send them to the archives." That's right. Because of everything that happened since the ballet, it completely slipped my mind. My apologies, Inspector, I completely forgot. No worries, O'Malley. It's understandable, what with the heists and you falling ill. You're likely still recovering, so helping me sort these old cases of mine shouldn't be too much to ask of you, I assume? Not at all, Inspector. Thank God he isn't pushing me too hard right off the bat. I grab the chair near his desk and make myself comfortable, then pick out a few boxes to start shrinking the pile. We both quietly skim through the documents, sorting them into neat piles to show which cases can be archived. As I'm working through my portion, I start to notice something in common with a majority of these cases. Sorry to interrupt, Inspector, but why are so many of these cases related to Crow? The Inspector puts down the file he was reading to give me his full attention. Well, it's complicated. That man's been a thorn in our side for a decade now, what with his vigilantism. But he's also incredibly smart, and has managed to conduct his work with as many loopholes as he can find. He picks up a folder from his pile, then opens it and simply stares. All these cases are either old enough to be outside the statute of limitations, or considered solved because of the circumstances. I see. I continue skimming through the file I opened, while part of my mind wanders, remembering that time with Forget-Me-Not. They know Crow, so I wonder if they helped with any of these. Suddenly, the Inspector's phone starts to ring, interrupting my train of thought. He puts away what he was doing and promptly picks up the phone with an apologetic smile. Oops, let me get that. Hello, Inspector Harrison speaking. Oh, Commissioner, what can I do for you? Yes, I see. I'll be right over. He quickly hangs up, then stands up from his seat while cracking his back. I'll be back in just a little bit. The Commissioner wants to confirm something in the archives. Hold down the fort while I'm gone, okay, O'Malley? Will do. With another pat on my back, the Inspector bolts from the room, leaving me alone with the documents strewn about. I continue to work through my pile as I stumble on a case I'm familiar with. These are the break-ins from 5 years ago, and the very reason I'm here in Twin Bells to begin with. I skim through the admittedly large folder, the last few pages of which are dedicated entirely to the LeChance robbery. They were finally able to catch those burglars because of the Commissioner personally stepping in to investigate. I can understand his grief because of what happened to his family, but even still I can agree he went overboard. As I continue skimming the document, I notice a small part dedicated to the third member of the household, Desiree. I quickly read past it, but do a double take as I glance at her physical description. Average height, slim build, has dark curly hair and blue eyes with a mole near her mouth. I grab one of the files I sorted away earlier, the case about the jewellery conman Crow took down, and flipped to the section about his accomplice. Average height and slim build, wearing a hat and navy jacket with dark curly hair. That's almost a perfect match. But it's far too vague to make a theory out of. As I try to shake away this urge to press deeper, I'm reminded of that incident near the museum. But it fits the disguise the thief wore at that time. I stare at the door, then back at the files before me, my mind bouncing back and forth between continuing to work and a bad decision. I shouldn't. That'll get me in trouble if I'm caught. But with another quick glance at the door, I pull out my phone to take pictures of the case files for later. I can't believe this is how the detective is going to figure it out. Not by accidentally running into Desiree. Time for dinner for you, huh, Nick? Time for dinner for me soon. As soon as we have a change of scenery, I will be stopping, so I will see you tomorrow. A conman case, the break-in at the LeChance home. I take as much as I can while keeping watch for when the inspector returns. Just as I finish, the inspector walks back into the office, looking as jovial as ever as he plants himself back onto his chair. Sorry to keep you waiting, O'Malley. No worries, Inspector. Now that that's squared away, let's get this pile done with. He cracks his knuckles and opens up the file he was working on before he left. Meanwhile, I hide my phone back into my pocket, holding back a sigh of relief. Please let me just be overthinking things as usual. And there we go. Many hours later. And a change of scene, which I am going to take as an excuse to end the stream. So, thank you very much for coming. It's been fun. If you're new here and you've enjoyed your time, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on social media, which is linked in the description box. The streaming schedule for this channel goes up both over there on social media and over here on YouTube in the posts tab of the channel. This was the last scheduled stream of the week, so I will have a new schedule up for you guys later tonight. The next stream is going to be tomorrow, Monday, 7 PM, for some more Soulsbat. So I hope to see you then, or another time. Once again, thank you very much for coming. And this is Kalla signing out. See ya! Bye-bye.